Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Spellcasting is a permanent addition and my skills are all forbidden spells. Chapter 1. Global Catastrophe. Activate the Transcending Divinity level talent. Disaster is about to come. Please be prepared. Countdown to 10 seconds. Closing square bracket. 10, 9, 8, 7. Disaster coming. Countdown. Listening to the mechanical voice in his mind, Liu Cheng suddenly opened his eyes. The environment that strikes the eye is familiar yet unfamiliar, unlike the devastation after a disaster. This is, before the disaster strikes. I lost the last battle, shouldn't I die? Picking up the phone and taking a look, Liu Cheng suddenly became excited. The time displayed on the phone is December 31, 2033. I was reborn, 20 years ago, on the day the disaster began. Listen to the countdown in your head. Liu Cheng's heart beat rapidly. The memory of the previous life is still very clear. In 2033, disaster strikes and sweeps the world. All over the earth, terrifying monsters appear out of thin air and wreak havoc in all directions. Large swaths of territory fell, and more than 1 billion people died in just the first hour after the disaster. Correspondingly, humans also have new abilities. You can unlock the semi-gamified attribute panel, activate professions and talents, and kill monsters to upgrade and become stronger. But Liu Cheng is clear about the rebirth. The real threat of destruction comes not only from the monsters that spawn on the earth, but also from the stars. In 2053, the tongue-pulling civilization invaded the solar system. He also died in the battle against the tongue-puller civilization. The memory of the last battle is still extremely clear. The vanguard of the tongue-puller civilization easily killed nearly 1,000 of the strongest people on Earth. Then with a flick of his finger, the sun exploded. That was also the last image he saw. Just as he was thinking about it, Liu Cheng felt a hard lump on his waist. He took it out and looked at it, and was startled. In his hand was a crystal-clear 24-sided gem, the size of a fist, half of which was dim, and the other half shone with a faint purple light. Seeing this purple gem, Liu Cheng's expression changed drastically. In the final battle with the tongue puller, he was not among the strongest and could not fight across a vacuum. He was just a cheering spectator. It's not that his strength has always been insufficient. In fact, although in the early days of the disaster, Liu Cheng was unknown. But he exerted his strength later, and by 15 years after the disaster, he had already entered the ranks of first-rate powerhouses. At its peak, it was even ranked among the top 500 in the world. But 3 years after that, he got a divine level mission scroll and has been doing this ultimate mission. The divine level task involved more than 100 participants and took 3 years to complete. At the time of settlement, the rewards received by others are all divine level quality equipment and skills. He put in the most effort, but got nothing, only this purple gem called Time Crack. It was precisely because of this that he wasted 3 years and fell out of the ranks of first-rate experts. The Time Rift, could it be said that it is because of it? Thinking of the name of this gem in his heart, Liu Cheng couldn't help but feel ups and downs. In his previous life, it was because of this gem that he missed the last battle. But now, he can live a new life. While thinking, the countdown returned to 0. A mechanical voice sounded in my mind. The countdown is over, disaster is coming. Closing square bracket. The personal panel has been unlocked and professions are automatically matched. Closing square bracket. Along with this sound, outside the window, the roars of beasts sounded one after another. Panel. Ignoring the roar of the beast, Liu Cheng thought silently in his heart. In the early stage of the disaster, monsters will not spawn within 20 meters around the living body. He is in the room and is safe for the time being. As he recited silently, a translucent light curtain unfolded in front of his eyes. Name, Liu Cheng. Level, 1. Experience value, 0 100ths. Occupation, Mage. HP, 110 110ths. Mana, 140 140ths. Strength, 5. Affects physical attack power, 1 strength equals 1 attack power. Agility, 5. Affects movement speed, attack speed, 1 agility equals 0.01 attack speed, movement speed. Physique, 6. Affects health, 1 constitution equals 10 health. Intelligence, 6. Affects spell attack power, 1 intelligence equals 1 attack power. Spirit, 9 affects mana, 1 spirit equals 10 mana. Free attribute points, 0 points. Physical attack, 6, magic attack, 7. Skill, Fireball LV1. After chanting for 1 second, condense a fireball to attack the enemy, damage 10, casting distance 20 meters, consumption 10 mana, cooling time 5 seconds, proficiency 0 100ths. Talent, not activated. Transcending divinity level potential particle detected, can be activated. Equipment, none, on the light curtain. The properties panel is unremarkable. The initial profession was automatically matched when the disaster struck, leaving no room for choice. Liu Cheng didn't care about this. He was a mage in his previous life, and there were almost no restrictions on his initial profession. At level 10, he could change professions freely. His eyes were fixed on the talent column. In the talent column, in addition to the initial inactive state, there is also a line of comments. Transcending divinity level potential particle. Liu Cheng was pleasantly surprised. Low-level talents are easy to activate. But high-level talents are not so easy to activate. A prop called potential particle is required. Potential particle is extremely rare and needs to be in harmony with itself to activate the talent. In his previous life, he got a diamond-level potential stone in the 10th year after the disaster and activated his talent. With that diamond-level talent, in just 5 years, he has risen to the top ranks of masters. That's just a diamond-level talent. Liu Cheng's heart was pounding. Talents are divided into 12 levels in total, ending at divine level. Ordinary level, elite level, black iron level, azure bronze level, white silver level, yellow gold level, platinum level, diamond level, flawless level, perfect level, transcendent level, divine level. It stops abruptly at the divine level. In previous lives, those who had activated divine level talent were all top-notch masters, and their combat power was firmly at the top of the world. As for the transcending divinity level, it was just a myth. He had never heard of it in his previous life. But now, the potential particle of transcending divinity level is in his hands. As long as his potential has not reached its upper limit. Using potential particle, he has the possibility to activate the transcending divinity level talent. Glancing at the purple gem in his hand, Liu Cheng nodded secretly. Activate talent. As his voice fell, the gem in his hand dimmed completely, and a purple brilliance flashed and jumped into the center of his eyebrows. Ding, you activated the talent, endless absorption. Closing square bracket. Liu Cheng's eyes lit up and he immediately checked the talent. Talent, endless absorption. Level, transcending divinity level. Grade 1. Effect. Each time you cast a spell, you will get a permanently improved bonus effect. There is currently 1 bonus slot. Closing square bracket. Bonus column 1. Each time you cast a spell, the damage of all skills will be permanently increased by 10 points. The damage must be caused to take effect. Closing square bracket. Bonus slot 2. Unlocked. Closing square bracket. Current casting times. 0 times. Closing square bracket. Proficiency. 0 1,000ths. Look at the effect of endless absorption. Liu Cheng was stunned. Even if he had been mentally prepared, the effect was too abnormal. Each time you cast a spell, the damage of all skills will be permanently increased by 10 points. The mage's basic skill, level 1 fireball, only does 10 points of damage in total. Too perverted. It took Liu Cheng a long time to calm down his excitement. Then, he looked out the window. The diamond-level talent, soul-draining spell, in his previous life only had the effect of permanently increasing the damage of a single skill by 500 points each time it was upgraded. Not as good as a hair of endless absorption. But with the soul-draining curse, he has reached the top 500 in the world. With this talent, the upper limit is simply unimaginable. Liu Cheng clenched his fists. Then, look out the window. Where he is now is on the outskirts of a small county in the northeastern region of Sha Kingdom. In the early stages of the catastrophe, the monsters spawned here were at least 30% stronger than those in other areas, and humans were no match for them. Therefore, the northeast region was once lost and fell into the hands of monsters. It wasn't until late stage, when the Sha Kingdom regained its lost territory, that they discovered how many opportunities lurked in this area. This area fell, and Sha State missed too many opportunities. But this life is different. Liu Cheng was full of confidence and looked out the window. Level up first. On the streets, zombie-like monsters wandered around, roaring from time to time, which was creepy. Liu Cheng hid in the corner, silently sizing up the zombie monster. These are level 1 monsters. The health points are between 440 to 490 points, and the attributes are much higher than those of level 1 humans. Therefore, when the disaster first came, even a level 1 monster requires the combined efforts of at least 2 or 3 people to kill it. It's almost impossible to do it alone. However, Liu Cheng is an exception. I have 140 mana points and can cast Fireball 14 times. As long as it doesn't miss, the damage will be enough. Liu Cheng was thinking. He was a first-class mage in his previous life, and with 20 years of experience, it was impossible for him to make a low-level mistake like empty skills. Find a lone zombie. Liu Cheng threw out a fireball. Bang! Dash! 9. The fireball hits, and a red damage number appears from the zombie's head. A system prompt follows. Ding! You cast a spell once, and the damage of all skills is permanently increased by 10 points. Closing square bracket. The zombie roared, quickly locked onto Liu Cheng, and pounced on him. It was quite agile, not much slower than an adult. Liu Cheng didn't panic, turned around and ran away. Fireball has a CD of 5 seconds. As a mage, it is impossible for him to fight zombies hand to hand. The monsters in the nearby area were not too dense, and he had observed the route before. With the skills he has developed over the past 20 years, he only needs to move within a small area to avoid zombie attacks without attracting more monsters. 5 seconds later, Liu Cheng turned around and rubbed the fireball. After the casting time of 1 second, a fireball is thrown out. Dash! 20. Looking at the damage figures, Liu Cheng felt happy. The basic damage of the fireball spell is too low. Only stacking it 1 layer has the same effect as doubling the damage. He continued to turn around and run away, and 5 seconds later, the third fireball was fired. Dash! 31. Then, he ran away again. Zombies are inherently slower than humans, and with Liu Cheng's careful positioning, they would not be touched at all. 8 fireballs were thrown out before and after, and the zombie's health bottomed out and he fell to the ground. Ding! You killed a zombie level 1 and gained plus 7 experience points. Closing square bracket. The experience value jumped up a little, and Liu Cheng felt happy. If he continues like this, if he kills 15 zombies, he will be able to reach level 2. What surprised him even more was the effect of endless absorption. Fireball was cast 8 times before and after, adding 80 points of skill damage. The transcending divinity level talent is really powerful. Liu Cheng praised him sincerely. At this time, the panel data of endless absorption has improved a little. Talent: Endless Absorption. Level: Transcending Divinity level. Grade 1. Effect: Each time you cast a spell, you will get a permanently improved bonus effect. There is currently 1 bonus slot. Closing square bracket. Bonus column 1. Each time you cast a spell, the damage of all skills will be permanently increased by 10 points. The damage must be caused to take effect. Closing square bracket. Bonus slot 2. Unlocked. Closing square bracket. Current casting times: 8 times. Closing square bracket. Skill damage increase: 80 points. Closing square bracket. Proficiency: 8 1/1000ths. There is still only 1 bonus slot. If slot 2 can be unlocked, will it be possible to stack more than just skill damage? Liu Cheng felt excited. With the blessing of endless absorption, his 8th fireball, the damage had reached 95 points. It is almost equivalent to the total damage of a normal mage casting 9 fireballs. It is precisely because of this that Liu Cheng has the confidence to fight zombies alone. Without this talent, even if 14 fireballs are fired and the mana reaches the bottom, less than half of the zombie's health will be destroyed, making it impossible to do a single kill. However, although there is an exaggerated damage increase with talent, he only has less than half of his mana left. The remaining 60 blue points are enough to cast 6 fireballs. During combat, mana is restored by 1 point per minute, and in resting state it is increased 20 times. The zombie's HP is about 460 to 470, and it has almost no resistance. With his current output, it can be killed with 4 to 5 fireballs. He still had enough mana left to kill a zombie alone. However, it is only enough to kill 1 zombie. If other monsters are attracted, the situation will be extremely passive. After careful consideration, Liu Cheng chose to play it safe and hid in a safe corner to return to blue. In the early stage of the mage, there is still too little mana. However, Liu Cheng is not worried either. With the spell power of endless absorption stack, he doesn't need high mana consumption skills, the damage is enough. In this way, as the level goes up, the mana will naturally be enough. Moreover, upgrading brings more than just mana. Together with the blood volume, spell casting speed, and skill cooldown, they will gradually increase. After resting for a few minutes, his mana returned to full, and Liu Cheng found a lone zombie again. Bang! Dash! 103. A 3-digit damage figure appeared above the zombie's head. Liu Cheng himself was shocked by the damage he dealt. In the previous life, let alone level 1, even a level 5 mage could hardly do more than 100 damage from the fireball spell. But for him, this is only the level of stacking 8 spells. His feet kept moving, and Liu Cheng was stuck in the cooling time. Every time the CD changed, he happened to be standing in the most suitable position for casting spells. This is the basic skill of the old mage, and he is very skilled at it. After firing 4 fireballs back and forth, the zombie fell to the ground. Ding! You killed a zombie level 1 and gained plus 7 experience points. Closing square bracket. A flash of silver light flashed over the zombie corpse. Liu Cheng stepped forward to touch the body and picked up a small crystal piece the size of the nail of his little finger. Obtained origin stone fragment X1. Closing square bracket. When he picked it up and took a look, Liu was happy. He was very familiar with this thing. After the catastrophe, the original social order was completely overturned, followed by the failure of banknotes at the speed of light. What subsequently depreciated were precious metals such as gold and silver. This origin stone fragment is the currency of the Cataclysm era. Later, some countries discovered that free attribute points could be extracted by smelting massive origin stone fragments. But that's a very late stage thing. When the quantity is not enough, this thing is really useless. Putting the broken crystal into his pocket, Liu Cheng looked for a zombie. Dash 145 dash 157 dash 166. This time, after only 3 fireballs, the zombie's health bar bottomed out. As his talent continues to increase, his magic power increases. The 5th zombie used 3 fireballs. Starting from the 6th one, it only takes 2 fireballs to kill it in seconds. Liu Cheng worked hard and kept spawning monsters. His experience bar also kept rising. With his current output of killing a zombie in seconds with 2 fireballs, he is no longer afraid of zombies gathering in small piles. However, the mage's body is too fragile in the early stage, and if he is not careful, he may capsize. Therefore, Liu Cheng would rather spend time moving around and avoid areas with dense monsters. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours passed. Ding! You killed a zombie level 1 and gained plus 7 experience points. Closing square bracket. As the 15th zombie fell to the ground. Next to Liu Cheng, a circle of white light flashed past. Ding! You have reached level 2 and gained free attribute points plus 5. Closing square bracket. The system prompt sounded, and a circle of white light lit up under Liu Cheng's feet, and the fatigue all over his body was swept away. Panel. Liu Cheng read silently. Name, Liu Cheng. Level, 2. Experience value, 3/500. Occupation, mage. HP, 130 130. Mana, 160 160. Strength, 6. Agility, 6. Constitution, 7. Intelligence, 7. Spirit, 10. Free attribute points, 5 points. Physical attack, 8. Magic attack, 9. Skill, Fireball LV1 Proficiency, 4100. Talent, Endless Absorption LV1 Proficiency, 41,000. Number of casts, 40. Skill damage increased, 400. Equipment, none. Glancing at the properties panel. Liu Cheng nodded slightly. Upgrading improved attributes is simple. The blood volume and mana volume are 10 points each, the 5-dimensional attribute is 1 point each, and the physical attack and spell attack are also 1 point each. The most critical thing is these 5 free attribute points. In the early stages of the disaster, equipment and skills were scarce, which was the most important means of improvement. For a mage, the two most important attributes are intelligence and spirit. Intelligence increases spell damage, and spirit increases mana. Many mages in the previous life had 4 intelligence and 1 spirit, or 3 intelligence and 2 spirit points in the early stage. However, for Liu Cheng, with the stacks of endless absorption, he has no shortage of damage. What is needed more is battery life and survival. That is agility, constitution and spirit. Wait a minute, the Ice Lord's job change seems to be in the northeast. After recalling it, Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. In the previous life, after the northeastern region was recovered, a divine level job transfer mission was given, and he was the Ice Lord of the mage system. He was not the first mage to be exposed to the job transfer task, but because the conditions were too harsh and no one before him could satisfy them, it fell into his hands. It took 3 months for this mission to be successfully accepted. The conditions required for divine level job transfer are too harsh. If you want to accept the job transfer mission of the Lord of Ice, you must have a spiritual attribute of 450 points at level 60. That is to say, not only the attribute points must be fully increased, but also the spirit. You also need to obtain at least 90 additional free attribute points and allocate them to your spirit. However, Liu Cheng was still very excited. Although the conditions are harsh, there is no doubt that it is powerful. The mage who was transferred to the divine level professional Ice Lord was originally only 2nd tier in strength. Within half a year after the transfer, he became one of the top 10 masters of Sha Kingdom. After thinking about it, Liu Cheng added all 5 free attribute points to his spirit. Even if he doesn't change his job as Lord of Ice, mana is an attribute he needs urgently now. Ding! Free attribute points are allocated successfully, spirit +5, mana limit +50. Closing square bracket. Attribute points are allocated. Liu Cheng's mana level reaches 210. Not counting mana recovery, he can cast Fireball 21 times in a row. Then, Liu Cheng looked around. There are level 1 zombies all around. He is currently at level 2, and if he brushes level 1 monsters again, he will face an experience penalty. After thinking about it, Liu Cheng made a decision. Although it is definitely safer to farm level 1 monsters to stack talent layers. But under the experience penalty, one zombie may only give 2 or 3 points of experience, and it takes more than 200 to reach level 3. The talent of transcending divinity level is strong, but in the early stage, if you only focus on the number of stacks, you will lose sight of one thing. In the early stages, level is also critical, providing the other attributes he needs. When the level is raised, the casting speed and cooling time are increased, making it much faster than now. Looking at it this way, the result is obvious. When his output is sufficient, it is more efficient to brush level 2 monsters. Liu Cheng stood up, carefully avoided the large group of zombies, and began to search for areas where level 2 monsters were infested. If you encounter a small group of zombies that you can't get around, just use a few fireballs to wipe them out. It was pretty much what he thought. Killing level 1 zombies at level 2 would only result in a pitiful 2 points of experience. After a long time, Liu Cheng stopped in front of a farmland. He searched for more than an hour and almost reached the edge of the county town. During this period, 2 level 2 monster areas were also discovered. However, he bypassed them all. One is a mutated scarecrow. The monsters are so dense that they become a large area once they are attracted. One is a demonized leech, which is too fast and difficult to kite. And now, in front of him were level 2 stone beetles, half a man tall, crawling in and out covered in thick carapace. This is it. Liu Cheng nodded with satisfaction. The stone beetle has thick blood, high defense, and slow speed, which meets his requirements. Moreover, this kind of monster has a hidden attribute that none of the previous 3 types have. Communal. This is a mechanism that was only fully understood in the middle of the catastrophe. Monsters with community attributes form a group of their own. Killing a certain number of mobs may lead to elite monsters or even Black Iron level boss. Of course, the odds are quite low. However, even if not, stone beetles are the most suitable monster for him to farm. Take a short rest. Liu Cheng started to kill monsters. Aim at a lone stone beetle and throw a fireball. Bang! Dash! 499. The damage numbers popped up, and the stone beetle's health dropped by more than half, and it began to crawl towards Liu Cheng. But the speed is really unflattering. Liu Cheng didn't even have to move, and the fireball CD was turned before the stone beetle could reach him. Bang! Dash! 507. Another fireball hit, and the stone beetle's health bar bottomed out, dying. This injury surprised even Liu Cheng himself. This kind of armored monster has thick health and high defense. According to the output of a normal mage at level 2, it may not be possible to kill it even if it has 10 empty mana tubes. As a result, even though his magic power was stacked up, he was still dead in 2 hits. Ding! You killed the stone beetle, level 2, and gained plus 25 experience points. Closing square bracket. This experience is so rich. After checking the harvest, Liu Cheng was quite satisfied. This efficiency is 10 times faster than killing zombies. If this continues, if you don't get 20 stone beetles, it will be enough to level up. Liu Cheng kept throwing out fireballs one after another. Half an hour later. Ding! Your skill fireball has been upgraded to level 2. Closing square bracket. Ding! You have reached level 3 and gained free attribute points plus 5. Closing square bracket. 2 system prompts sounded one after another. Fireball has been upgraded to level 2, and the damage has been increased to 25 points. Everything else remains unchanged. Glancing at the skills, Liu Cheng couldn't help but laugh. For low-level mages, the damage of the fireball spell has more than doubled, which is a huge improvement. But to him, it was nothing more than a mosquito leg. As for the 5 free attribute points for upgrade, Liu Cheng still put in the effort. Then, he walked deeper into the farmland. Monsters that appear in groups may not all be of the same level. Really, he left not long ago. Liu Cheng smiled. In front of him were groups of stone beetles that were several times larger. Each of these stone beetles is holding grass blades and grains, just like worker ants in an ant colony, and their level is level 3. And, what makes Liu Cheng happy is that, among this group of worker insects, one is very eye-catching. Its carapace is not black, but dark red. Mutant. Looking at the red stone beetle, Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. Mutated monsters are quite special, and their combat power may not be as high as that of elite monsters, but the rewards are often quite good. He glanced around. Determined not to attract other stone beetles, Liu Cheng decisively threw out a fireball. Bang! Dash! 996. Terrifying damage numbers popped up, nearly 4 digits, and the red stone beetle had less than 1/3 of its health left. Liu Cheng was stuck on CD for 5 seconds, and there was another fireball. Dash! 1005. A 4-digit damage number appeared above his head, and the red stone beetle was sent away directly. Ding! You killed the stone beetle worker, level 3, mutated, and gained plus 255 experience points. Closing square bracket. The experience provided by level 3 monsters is generally between 40 to 60. This mutant monster provided 5 times the experience, which increased Liu Cheng's experience bar by a small amount. However, what Liu Cheng is more concerned about is the flash of blue light emerging from the corpse of the stone beetle. In the blue light, there is a ring. Did the equipment explode? Liu Cheng stepped forward quickly, picked up the ring, and the name of the equipment appeared. Arcane Ring. Level 3 mutants can actually explode rings. Liu Cheng was a little surprised. He was not surprised that mutant monsters could explode equipment. Although the mutant monsters are far less powerful than elite monsters, the rewards are often better than those of elite monsters. However, the equipment in the jewelry area is too rare, and the explosion rate is much lower than that in other areas. In his previous life, he was at level 20, and he only wore his first ring. Arcane Ring. Ring slot. Quality. Rare grade. Closing square bracket. Wearing requirements. Spell profession, level 3 or above, mental attribute 5 or above. Closing square bracket. Maximum mana plus 30, spirit plus 5, mana recovery plus 1 per minute. Closing square bracket. Special effect 1. Actively used, it can instantly restore 50 mana points, and the cooling time is 10 minutes. Closing square bracket. Special effect 2. Provide 1 cubic meter of storage space. Closing square bracket. I have seen the properties of the secret magic ring. Liu Cheng was delighted. Equipment levels are divided into 12 levels, just like talents. As a rare piece of equipment, the properties of the arcane ring are average. This attribute, once he levels up a bit, will only serve as a backpack. But now, what he added happened to be the attribute he needed most. Mana amount, return to mana. In terms of attributes alone, 80 points of mana are added, and there is also an active effect of restoring mana. Moreover, in the early stages of the catastrophe, the storage attribute was also quite scarce. Equip the arcane ring. Liu Cheng's blue limit has increased a bit, reaching 310 points. Just about to continue killing monsters. The system prompts. Ding, you killed the mutated workers that were feeding for the Insect King, and alerted the Black Iron level boss Stone Beetle Cave Dweller. The Stone Beetle Burrower will appear in 10 minutes, please stay away as soon as possible. Countdown to 10 minutes. Listen to the system voice in your head. Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. This is the group mechanism taking effect. He killed enough mobs and alerted the boss. However, he only brushed over 20 monsters in total, which was less than the minimum value of the trigger mechanism. What's more, it may be because of the mutated stone beetle. As for the level 3 Black Iron boss, Liu Cheng thought in his mind. Among the level 3 stone beetle workers, he killed a mutated one. The blood volume is between 1300 - 1500. There is no way that mutant monsters are stronger than ordinary monsters. From this point of view, the blood volume of ordinary stone beetle workers is about 1300. From the elite level upwards, the boss's combat power increases horribly. The boss of Black Iron level may have 10 to 30 times the health of ordinary monsters. That is to say, the Stone Beetle Cave Dweller's health ranges from 13,000 to 39,000. Liu Cheng blinked. For ordinary players, this amount of blood is almost the same as a natural chasm. 2 level 3 professionals, without talents and special professions, can only deal around 20 points of damage, and their HP can only be 200 to 300 at most. In the early stages of the catastrophe, unless hundreds of people were organized to encircle and suppress the enemy, there would be no chance against a boss with tens of thousands of HP. However, Liu Cheng is different. Now, endless absorption stacks up to over 1000 points of spell power. He even has a chance to solo the Stone Scarab Trog. Counting the active mana recovery of the arcane ring, he can cast 36 consecutive fireballs. Even if the newly stacked ones are not counted, this is still 36,000 damage. I just don't know how resistant the Stone Beetle Cave Dweller is. I thought to myself. Liu Cheng didn't stop, controlling the blue to spawn monsters. Every time he casts a spell, he can increase his spell power. In the 10 minutes before the Stone Beetle Cave Dweller appears, it won't be a problem to add another 100 or 200 points. Ding, you killed the Stone Beetle Worker, level 3, and gained plus 55 experience points. Closing square bracket. Ding, you killed the Stone Beetle Worker, level 3, and gained plus 55 experience points. Closing square bracket. Comma 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 comma. System prompts sounded one after another. With 3 minutes left in the countdown, Liu Cheng stopped moving, took a rest and returned to Lan. He always controls the amount of mana very high, and 3 minutes is enough to regain it. 3 minutes later, boom boom boom, a series of muffled sounds sounded from the ground 100 meters away. The fields arched high, and the soil and gravel fell rustlingly, revealing a stone beetle as big as a van. Stone Beetle Trog. Level 3, Black Iron level boss. HP, 28,000. Physical attack, magic attack, closing square bracket. Physical resistance, legal resistance, closing square bracket. Skill, closing square bracket. Glancing at the boss attributes, Liu Cheng nodded slightly. Without the true sight skill, he could only see the blood volume, and everything else was a question mark. The blood volume of 28,000 was within the range of his estimate. Liu Cheng controlled the distance, raised his hand decisively when he was about to reach the shooting range, and fired a fireball. Bang! Dash! 998. The damage figure popped up, but it didn't exceed 1,000. His magic power is now stacked to 1,200, and when he hits ordinary stone beetle workers, the damage will be 1,200 and up. Stone Scarab Trog has some dual resistance, but not much. While thinking, Liu Cheng quickly ran to avoid it. The Stone Beetle Cave Dweller moved much faster than ordinary monsters. It charged over like a tank and made the ground buzz. After dodging a collision, Liu Cheng raised his hand again and hit with a fireball. 1006. After 2 fireballs, the stone beetle cave dweller lost nearly 1/10 of his health bar. Roar! The stone beetle cave dweller made a sharp explosion, turned around, and crashed into Liu Cheng again. Liu Cheng took his time and dodged again, and the stone beetle cave dweller hit the air again. Although the stone beetle cave dweller moves quickly, it is still far from the limit of his operation. After successfully dodging, Liu Cheng fired 2 more fireballs. Always maintain the attack frequency of 1 dodge and 2 fireballs. Although, judging from the CD of fireball, he wasted a lot of attack time. However, Liu Cheng was not in a hurry. At the current output frequency, the stone beetle cave dweller can't handle it. If you rub 3 fireballs, it would be a bit too hasty. Moreover, the black iron level boss also has skills. He needs to allow enough reaction time. Under the bombardment of Liu Cheng's fireballs, the stone beetle cave dweller's blood volume dropped rapidly. Really, when the blood volume drops to 30%, the stone beetle burrower suddenly unfolded its carapace, which shattered into sharp fragments and flew towards Liu Cheng. Coming, Liu Cheng's eyes narrowed and he swooped aside to avoid it. Tuck tuck tuck. There was a series of explosions, and the carapace fragments were more than halfway nailed into the ground. The power was quite astonishing. However, Liu Cheng was prepared and was unscathed. After releasing the skill, the stone beetle cave dweller gasped and his movements became much slower. Liu Cheng stood firm and raised his hand to create a fireball. Bang! 1512. A super high damage value floated out. Liu Cheng's heart moved. Without the carapace, the stone beetle cave dweller's defense dropped to a negative number. Bang! 1533. Bang! 1549. Liu Cheng was neither in a hurry nor slow, always maintaining the rhythm and guarding against the boss's second skill. However, until the health bar is empty, the stone beetle burrower did not cast his skills again. As Liu Cheng threw out the last fireball. Bang! 1598. The stone beetle burrower fell to the ground with a crash, throwing up a cloud of sand and dust. Ding! You killed the black iron level boss stone beetle cave dweller and gained plus 1655 experience points. Closing square bracket. Ding! You have reached level 4 and gained free attribute points plus 5 and skill points plus 1. Closing square bracket. Ding! You killed the black iron boss of the same level alone and got plus 6 free attribute points. Closing square bracket. A series of system prompts sounded. Liu Cheng took a deep breath and looked at the body of the stone beetle burrower. There, nearly 10 rays of light flashed, and there was a big explosion. After taking a rest, Liu Cheng began to count the harvest. Kill the black iron level boss alone and the rewards are really generous. The experience value required to upgrade level 3 to level 4 is 3000. Liu Cheng originally farmed the stone beetle engineer and had more than half of the experience bar. The stone beetle cave dweller gave 1655 experience points and was immediately upgraded. Besides, killed the same level boss alone and got 6 free attribute points. This was the first time in 2 lives that he had accomplished this achievement. After all, although Cataclysm late stage he grew up. But the attributes of boss monsters of the same level also increase exponentially. Liu Cheng was a little surprised by the reward for killing the boss alone. The black iron boss at level 3 has 6 free attribute points. In the previous life, during the 20 years of the disaster, many system rules had been summarized into regular patterns. The reward rules for killing the boss alone are also included. The same as the black iron boss. The single kill reward at level 3 is 6 attribute points. The level 20 boss may have 40 points. After thinking about it, Liu Cheng felt hot. If we follow this progress, it is not difficult for him to meet the attribute requirements for Ice Lord's job transfer. After calming down, Liu Cheng stepped forward to touch the body. Compared with the experience, the treasures revealed by the boss are the most important. 1 skill book, 7 pieces of equipment, 1 boss and 1 mission scroll. In addition, there are 15 origin stone fragments, which is better than nothing. Although nearly 10 rays of light. Most are the lowest grade white light. But as long as you have a piece of equipment that works, you'll make a lot of money. In the early stages of Cataclysm, especially before level 20, There are very few people who can put together a set of low-level white equipment. Liu Cheng took the lead in looking at the skill book. Skill book. Energy shield. Spell department. After use, it takes 1 skill point to master the energy shield skill. Closing square bracket. Every time a normal profession reaches level 3, 1 skill point is given, and he just meets the conditions. Use. Liu Cheng slapped the skill book and used it directly. With his talents and strong spells, he has no shortage of output. 1 fireball is enough for now. What is missing are attributes such as life-saving, mana recovery, and CD reduction. This skill book comes just in time. Ding, you used the skill book and mastered Energy Shield LV1. Closing square bracket. Energy Shield LV1. After chanting for 2 seconds, an energy shield condenses around the body and can follow the caster. Absorbs 20 damage, consumes 30 mana, has a cooling time of 1 minute, a duration of 1 minute, and a proficiency of 0.2. Closing square bracket. Brush. Liu Cheng raised his hand and summoned an energy shield. For ordinary mages, the energy shield can't absorb much damage, which is a bit useless. But for Liu Cheng, there is no such trouble. His talent stacking increases the power of all skills. That is to say, originally, the energy shield could only absorb 20 points of damage. With his 1240 level magic power, he can absorb 1260 points of damage. Just from this skill book, I made a lot of money this time. Liu Cheng smiled. Then, he looked at the equipment. Among them, 6 pieces are white equipment of ordinary quality, and only 1 can be worn by the magic system. Beginner's cloak. Quality. Ordinary. Closing square bracket. Wearing requirements. Spell profession. Closing square bracket. Physical resistance +4, magic resistance +5. Closing square bracket. Liu Cheng is not surprised that it is better than nothing. This is what low-level white equipment looks like. Putting on his cloak, Liu Cheng looked at the last blue suit. Deadly Spellcaster. Main weapon slot. Quality. Black iron level. Closing square bracket. Wearing requirements. Spell profession, level 3 or above, strength attribute 5 or above, intelligence attribute 8 or above, mental attribute 10 or above. Closing square bracket. Spell attack power +25, intelligence +10, spirit +7, spell range +2. Closing square bracket. Special effect 1. Casting speed increased by 20%. Closing square bracket. Special effect 2. Fireball level +1. Closing square bracket. Black iron level equipment can actually increase spell casting speed. Liu Cheng was overjoyed and equipped it directly. This attribute is much better than the rare secret magic ring. Not to mention anything else, just the special effect 1 increases the casting speed by 20%. This staff is enough for him to use for a long time. Bronze equipment may not have this rare special effect. Put on 2 pieces of gear. Liu Cheng put the other 5 pieces of equipment directly into the storage space and looked at the final mission scroll. This is good stuff. As long as you complete an Azure Bronze level quest scroll, you will get at least 1 item of the same level. Azure Bronze level mission. Caveman's Altar. Task requirements. Find the caveman altar located underground, and provide at least 10 pieces of rare level or above equipment and 3 boss crystal cores to the altar. Closing square bracket. Task time limit. 5 days. Closing square bracket. Completion reward. 25,000 experience points, 10 free attribute points, 1 skill point, and 1 piece of 5 pieces of Azure Bronze level equipment. Closing square bracket. Penalty for failure. Task ban, never enabled. Closing square bracket. See the task requirements clearly. Liu Cheng was surprised. The Stone Scarab Caveman boss only has the Black Iron level, but what was revealed was the Azure Bronze level quest scroll. After reading it again, Liu Cheng understood. The rewards and difficulty of this mission are indeed worthy of Azure Bronze level. 25,000 experience points are enough for him to reach level 6.5. There are also attribute points and skill points, as well as bronze equipment. The rewards are generous and the difficulty is really high. He only has 2 pieces of equipment above rare level. As for the boss crystal core, it will only explode if you are at least a level 5 or above Black Iron boss. Even for him, it would be difficult to complete this task. The appearance of the stone beetle burrowers, could it be related to this? Liu Cheng couldn't help but think. He killed the mutated stone beetle and immediately alerted the boss. It's hard to say whether this has anything to do with the secret ring. If possible, I would still like to do this task. Although it was difficult, there was no penalty for failure in this task, so he didn't feel any pressure. 10 pieces of rare equipment are exchanged for 1 piece of bronze equipment, crossing 2 levels. Even if 3 boss crystal cores are added, it is still a profit. Just as I was thinking about it, the system prompt sounded. Ding, the number of monsters killed in this area meets the conditions. The settlement has been unlocked, number 1024. In the settlement, no monsters will be refreshed. Closing square bracket. The location of the settlement is marked. Closing square bracket. Listen to system messages. Liu Cheng's heart moved. The settlement is unlocked. Recalling information about previous settlements. Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. Settlement is extremely important throughout the late stage before and after Cataclysm. In previous lives, if there were no settlements, it would be difficult for humans to gain a foothold in the catastrophic apocalypse. When a certain number of monsters die in this area, the settlement will be unlocked. In the early stages of a catastrophe, there are generally around 100,000 people, and the number of monsters killed can unlock a settlement. The location of the settlement was randomly drawn within the area where these 100,000 people lived. The area designated as a settlement will not spawn monsters and is equivalent to a safe zone. Settlement unlocking is a group system message, and people within dozens of miles will receive it. Naturally, they will also gather towards the safe zone. However, Liu Cheng knew it. This so-called safe zone is not that safe, but may be more dangerous than the wild. Just because monsters are not refreshed in the settlement, it does not mean that they will not be attacked by monsters. All settlements, within 24 hours of formation, there will be a wave of beasts forming, and monsters will besiege the city. The ones in Beast Tide are not only of high level, but also have powerful attributes. Only after repelling the first wave of beasts can we truly be safe. In the 10 days before the disaster, more than 80% of the settlements could not survive this first wave of beasts. But, monster siege is dangerous though. But if it can be solved, the reward will be extremely generous. In his previous life, he just mingled with the large army and fought off a monster siege. For just barely ranking among the top 100 for meritorious deeds, he was rewarded with half a level of experience and a black iron level treasure chest. If it is a first-class meritorious service, it is unimaginable how many rewards there will be. It seems. The requirements for this Azure Bronze level mission have been met. Liu Cheng smiled. The time when the Beast Tide will strike is uncertain, and the latest is 24 hours. If you can defend it, you will be rewarded with a lot of equipment. The monster that leads the Beast Tide is at least a level 5 black iron boss, and the boss crystal core is also found. If everything goes well, you can get most of the items required for this Azure Bronze level mission. He looked up. A light green beam of light rose into the sky, marking the location of the settlement. Liu Cheng held his staff and started on his way. The settlement is about 10 kilometers away. With his current physical condition, it wouldn't take long to get there. If you encounter a big wave of monsters, go around it. A small group of monsters, just brush them by the way. With his current passive level, monsters within level 5 are basically dead in 1 second. Soon, more than half of the journey was over. Spotting a lone oil monster, Liu Cheng threw a fireball. Bang! The fireball fell on the oil monster and ignited a raging fire. 1798. Ding! You killed the small group of oil monsters level 2 and gained +4 experience points. Closing square bracket. Ding! You cast a spell once, and the damage of all skills is permanently increased by 10 points. Closing square bracket. With Liu Cheng's current level, he would get very little experience from swiping monsters below level 4. But he doesn't care, since the passive obtained by casting spells will not be discounted anyway. At this rate, we will be at the settlement in another 15 minutes. Liu Cheng estimated the distance, touched the ring, and a bottle of Coke appeared out of thin air in his hand. On the way, he passed several supermarkets where monsters had been ravaged. So the storage space of the secret magic ring was filled with various supplies. After unscrewing the lid and taking a long sip, Liu Cheng let out a sigh of relief. In the early days of the disaster, supplies were not in short supply. But 1 or 2 years after the disaster, this point became apparent. Although a few days before the disaster, the level of the monsters that descended was not high, no more than level 30. The attributes of monsters that can descend are closely related to the location where they are located. This view has been proven by countless people in previous lives. In places such as factories and workshops, powerful mechanical monsters often come. Beverages like Coca-Cola cannot be produced at all after the disaster. 1 bottle will be consumed and 1 bottle will be lost. Take a rest. Liu Cheng continued on his way. 15 minutes later. Arrive. Liu Cheng stopped slightly and looked up. In front of him is a shallow light green film, covering a large area, like a huge soap bubble. Settlement will not change the original landscape, it will just carve out an area. Within the scope of the soap bubble, there is probably a high school, plus 2 old communities next to it, with an area of about 100,000 square meters. After crossing the light film, 2 system voices sounded in my mind one after another. Ding! After arriving at settlement node 1024, the settlement panel is unlocked. Closing square bracket. Warning. Attracted by the settlement hub, a wave of monsters gathers in the due north direction and will attack the settlement in 11 hours and 35 minutes. If the settlement hub is destroyed, the settlement will lose its functions. Countdown to 11 hours. Closing square bracket. At the same time, translucent panels emerge before your eyes. Settlement code 1024. Location. Blue Star, Sha Kingdom, Northeast Region. Settlement level. Level 0. Area. 99,825 square meters. Population. 7,231 people. Settlement hub. Intactness 100%. Settlement function 1. Safe zone. Monsters cannot descend within the settlement territory. Closing square bracket. Settlement function 2. Dialogue. Within the settlement territory, you can drive the light curtain to communicate remotely through your thoughts. Closing square bracket. The level is not met and the remaining functions are not unlocked. Glancing at the panel, Liu Cheng walked towards the inside of the settlement. The settlement has just been unlocked, and both functions are the most basic, and he is very familiar with them. On the panel, the type of settlement hub is not marked. The types of siege monsters are related to the attributes of the settlement hub. In the early stage, there were only dozens of monsters below level 10. Based on his experience, when he saw the settlement hub, he could probably guess what kind of monsters were attacking. While walking on the road, Liu Cheng clicked on the chat box. The conversation function of level 0 settlement does not include private chat, it is just a large chat room. In his previous life, he had heard a lot of information from here. In the chat box, messages were flowing quickly one after another. Oh my god, I can finally take a breath. What is the monster wave? What's wrong with this world? Does anyone know the situation? Are you sure it can be defended? I just escaped from the north. The tide of monsters is so dark. There must be at least 2 or 3,000 of them. I think the lowest ones are level 5. What? Level 5. I awakened the Black Iron level talent, killed monsters all day long, and only reached level 170% experience. Want to drink Coca-Cola? I am Li Yuanqing, the person in charge of Li's technology. Li's technology recycles equipment and materials. The location is the trading area, the school teaching building. What Li Yuanqing? I'm still in the spring of Qin Yuanchen. I must be dreaming. It's too scary. I want to wake up. The messages in the chat box are all kinds of strange. There is also a lot of nonsense. Liu Cheng had already expected this. The chat function of the settlement is input with your mind. Some people who are not familiar with the operation may accidentally express their inner thoughts. Liu Cheng narrowed his eyes slightly when he saw the message from Lishi Technology. The name of Lishi Technology was extremely famous in its previous life, and it was one of the 5 transcendent level groups in Daxia. In the era of Cataclysm, the 5 transcendent level groups produced many powerful people and played a decisive role in Daxia. These transcendent level groups did not reveal much in peacetime and kept silently making money. It wasn't until the disaster struck that it began to show its splendor. They responded to the disaster extremely quickly controlled order, occupied resources, and transformed into a behemoth. Along the way, he saw people maintaining order on the streets, who were also employees of Lishi Technology. After the disaster, in such a small county, the Transcendent Level Group's control was once greater than that of the Daxia official. Then, it is about cultivating strong men with high-level talents. Awakening talent takes the golden rank as the dividing point. Talents above yellow-gold level require potential particle to awaken. The upper limit of natural awakening is up to yellow-gold level. But in the early days of the disaster, Transcendent Level Group produced a large number of masters. Among them, there are even powerful people who have awakened diamond level and even flawless level talents. But potential particles are very precious and require a monster of at least level 30 to explode. This was also something Liu Cheng had doubts about in his previous life. How did they awaken their high-level talents? In previous lives, there were many assumptions about this issue. Some say that the Transcendent Level Group obtained information about extraterrestrial civilizations, some say that it discovered the prophecy by digging ancient ruins, and some say that the catastrophe was caused by the Transcendent Level Group. However, as of the end of the world, there is no precise conclusion. Just as I was thinking about it, the settlement hub arrived. In front of you, a bronze tree breaks through the asphalt and grows in the middle of the road, emitting a soft light green light. Settlement hub. Bronze tree seedlings. Level 0. Type: metal life. Condition: 100%. This is the core of the settlement, and if destroyed, the settlement will lose its functionality. This is. Seeing this bronze tree, Liu Cheng's expression changed. He was so impressed by this bronze sapling. The last fragment of the core treasure, Linglong Heart, inlaid on the staff of Daxia's god of law, was unearthed in the northeast region. At that time, he was still an unknown little mage, and he only saw the news on the news. In the picture accompanying the news, a broken bronze tree sapling was also unearthed. The shape of its branches is exactly the same as the one in front of you. The equipment information of the Dharma god was classified as top secret in Daxia, and he did not know the effect of Linglong Heart. But what he knew was that when he gathered the fragments and fused the treasure, Linglong Heart Dharma god's world ranking went from over 20 to the top 3, and even once reached the top of the world's strongest throne. Could it be that the fragment of the exquisite heart was dug out here? Liu Cheng felt hot. Although it is not a complete Linglong Heart, it is just a fragment. But the properties of high-grade treasures, even if they are just fragments, are not weak. He once got a broken sword fragment without any description, but after it was unsealed and held in his hand, it could increase his casting speed by 3 times, which was stronger than the main battle staff he originally used. And he has the advantage of being a prophet, so he may not be unable to gather exquisite hearts. After calming down his excitement, Liu Cheng looked around. Many employees of Lishi Technology are maintaining order and briefly dividing the settlement into functions. The school campus is the trading area, and the 2 communities are the rest area and martial arts area. If the exquisite heart fragment is in the settlement, it is likely to fall into the hands of Li Technology. First, there are many people in Li's science and technology. Second, those who can reach the settlement in the first batch are considered outstanding. No one is willing to carry a stone with no apparent effect. In all likelihood, they will be given to giants like Li Technology in exchange for more urgent survival resources. If it wasn't in the settlement, he would have to look for it on his own. Liu Cheng is not too worried either. Treasures of this level can only be produced in ruins and secret realm. There are only so many ruins and secret realm in the northeast region, and the area is not very large. Nodding slightly, Liu Cheng walked towards the trading area. The trading area was buzzing with people, most of the more than 7,000 people in the settlement gathered here. There are only a few people who might be able to trade their equipment. The vast majority of transactions are around food, drinking water, medicine, clothing, etc. After passing through the crowd and entering the school building, the surroundings suddenly became quieter. In the hall, a simple counter was made up of tables and chairs, and several Li Technology staff members sat behind the counter. "Hello, what do you want to sell?" A staff member came to greet you. "We support precious metals settlement here, including gold and silver, and you can also trade in cash." The staff introduced, then lowered his voice, as if he was telling the inside story privately. "However, it is not recommended to use cash. Who knows if there will be another big summer in the future." Listening to the other party's introduction, Liu Cheng's eyes were filled with emptiness. This is also one of the suspicious aspects of the transcendent level group. In the early stages of the disaster, their reactions were too skillful. I want to buy a piece of equipment. Buy equipment, the staff member's eyelids twitched. In this case, only barter is supported, and equipment of equal value needs to be exchanged. Hearing this, Liu Cheng chuckled silently. Gold, silver and cash are used to recycle equipment, and individuals who want to buy them can only barter. In the early days of the disaster, the transcendent level group quickly gathered a large amount of equipment and armed it through this method. However, compared to high-level talents, these are barely explainable. Liu Cheng touched the ring, then reached out of his cloak and threw out a bloody dagger. This is a rubbish white outfit that was revealed by the stone beetle caveman, and he kept it in the storage space. With a clang, the dagger fell on the table, reflecting a cold light. This is... The staff member tensed up and picked it up carefully. Orion dagger. Quality: normal. Wearing requirements: level 3. Closing square bracket. Physical attack +5. Closing square bracket. After reading the properties, the staff's expression changed drastically. Level 3 equipment. Please come here. He looked much more respectful, stood up quickly, and led the way. Arriving at a spacious conference room, a capable female supervisor with short hair stood in front of her. After listening to the staff's introduction, the female supervisor's face became serious. Pour tea for the guests. The female supervisor gave an order and then looked at Liu Cheng. Sir, what kind of equipment do you want? Can you describe it? As for level 3 equipment, we don't have it here yet. We can subsidize you with gold, silver or supplies. She was also a little uneasy. Among the more than 200 pieces of equipment recovered by the group, there were only 9 level 2 pieces and none at level 3. This man can produce level 3 equipment, he is undoubtedly a fierce man. I want a stone called the remains of the Lingtai. Liu Cheng thought for a while and said, the exquisite heart fragment needs to be unsealed before its real name can be revealed. This is the name it had before it was unsealed. The remains of the spiritual platform. A look of surprise flashed across the female supervisor's face. Liu Cheng was delighted when he caught the other person's expression. There is a door. Seeing the female supervisor hesitate, Liu Cheng raised his hand decisively. Bang 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 bang, 3 more pieces of white clothing fell on the table. The female supervisor's expression changed. After apologizing, she quickly picked up one item and checked it. Soon, she carefully put down the item in her hand and went to pick up another one. Every time she picked up something, the female supervisor's face became paler. After looking at the 3 white outfits, sweat was already visible on her forehead. Sir, I'm sorry, I need to ask my superiors for instructions. Seeing Liu Cheng nod, the female supervisor hurried out and left in a hurry. On the top floor, the principal's office. Li Yuanqing's face was expressionless, leaning on the sofa chair, his eyes constantly beating with anxiety. Report on the advance team. He spoke indifferently, without any fluctuation in his tone. Mr. Li, 2 hours ago, the advance team set out to investigate the monster tide. There are 20 members in total, including 39 people at level and 211 at level. So far, no news has been returned. The assistant responded quickly. Li Yuanqing's original assistant died. He was postponed to serve on this powerful figure in Li's technology, which was very stressful. Where's the advance team over there? No news either. Hearing this, Li Yuanqing's eyes became more irritated. Dong dong dong. There was a rapid knock on the door. Enter. The female supervisor opened the door and came in, looking nervous. I'll give you 3 minutes. Li Yuanqing's expression was indifferent. The female supervisor quickly told what happened. After listening, Li Yuanqing raised his eyes. Are you sure? A single person, taking out 4 pieces of level 3 equipment. Confirmed. Judging from his situation, it is impossible to be born from prajna genes or chalk wealth. The female supervisor said firmly. Oh, this is interesting. Li Yuanqing sat up straight. The Transcendent Level Group is an economic giant with industries all over Daxia, but it also has a focus. The only 2 companies that can reach into the northeast region and compete with Li's technology are Prajna Gene and Cretaceous Fortune. In the Northeast, if you are not from these two families, even if you have an official background, you are still an individual and can be recruited. I am afraid that the other party is not a single person, but a team. What do they want? Li Yuanqing narrowed his eyes slightly. He had already made some assumptions in his mind. Level 3 equipment can only be exploded by at least level 3 monsters, and the explosion rate is pitifully low. Being able to get 4 pieces of level 3 equipment means killing at least one Bo SS level monster. Recalling the terror of Bo SS level monsters, Li Yuanqing felt a chill in his heart. He wants the remains of the spiritual platform. The female supervisor was a little scared. What? Li Yuanqing's eyes suddenly turned cold. Li Yuanqing pondered for a moment and waved his hand. I'll talk to you personally. Along the way, there was no expression on his face. Arriving at the conference room, Li Yuanqing opened the door and entered with a kind smile on his face. Li's Technology Regional Vice President and current commander, Li Yuanqing. Arriving in front of Lu Cheng, Li Yuanqing took the initiative to extend his hand. Without losing grace, the aura is full. Hello. Lu Chenggen didn't care, stretched out his hand to shake his hand, and got straight to the point. Do you have the stone in your hand? Quote. Li Yuanqing paused for a moment and waved. The person behind him took a stone and handed it to him. Is this the Lingtai relics that Your Excellency wants? Li Yuanqing said, placing the stone carefully on the table. The stone was about the size of a fist, extremely round and smooth, as if it were a pebble that had been carved thousands of times, with a flash of 7-colored light flashing from time to time. After taking a glance, Lu Cheng felt happy. This is it. Li Yuanqing spoke again. Your Excellency, do you know what a heavy price we paid for this Lingtai relics? As he spoke, his eyes dimmed. On our way to the settlement, we encountered a large group of zombies. This Lingtai remains was found among the zombies. There is even a boss among the zombies. For this reason, at least 300 people from our Li technology died in exchange for this stone. Li Yuanqing was heartbroken. Lu Cheng's eyes lit up. The other party's intention was obvious. He wanted to raise the price, but he unconsciously provided him with information. Although zombies can be seen everywhere in the city, they are only level 1 mobs. But they would gather in large groups, plus there was a boss, and treasures were discovered. With these 3 qualifications, it is enough for Lu Cheng to make a judgment. Li's technology has probably discovered an entrance to the ruins. Lu Cheng thought to himself. Monsters like zombies have no intelligence, no sense of community, and tend to wander scatteredly. There are only 2 possibilities for forming a large group, including a boss. There are ruins nearby, or a secret realm. Secret realm is a different space, and you need to clear the level before you can gain anything, and it often takes a long time. It is unlikely for secret realm that Li technology obtains the Linglong heart fragment so early. In comparison, the possibilities for ruins are much greater. From this point of view, Li's technology is likely to be the fragment of the exquisite heart found at the entrance to the ruins. Thinking of this, Lu Cheng nodded secretly. The scope has been compressed enough, and it will not be difficult for him to find this secret realm. However, with my current combat power, it is not enough to explore the ruins. Lu Cheng thought in his mind. It had only been a few hours since the disaster occurred, and he was only at level 4. It was still too early to be able to explore the ruins alone. The lowest level ruins, the monsters inside are also level 15 and above. Pointing at the equipment on the table, Lu Cheng said, not enough. Your Excellency, please forgive me. Level 3 equipment is very powerful, but we have paid too much for this spiritual platform. Li Yuanqing lamented. Lu Cheng directly raised his hand, took out the last 3 pieces of white clothing, and said calmly, this is all. Seeing Lu Cheng take action with 3 more pieces of equipment, Li Yuanqing's eyelids jumped wildly. Looking back and forth, this is already 7 pieces of level 3 equipment. The explosion rate of ordinary monsters cannot be so high. This must have killed a level 3 boss. 7 pieces of level 3 equipment are worth enough to exchange. Li Yuanqing affirmed. Then, he changed the topic. It's just that I wonder if you have any intention to work for me, Li's technology. With your strength, you will definitely have great potential in today's great changes. Coupled with the help of Li's technology, you may be able to soar into the sky. Li Technology will not treat talented people badly. As long as you join, you will be treated the same as the backbone of 10 years. If you make further achievements in the future, you will be my right-hand man, Li Yuanqing. His tone was somewhat high-pitched, and his slightly magnetic voice was very instigative. After speaking, Li Yuanqing looked at Lu Cheng. What are your intentions? Do you want to participate in this grand event with Mr. Li? Lu Cheng was very calm and declined politely, no. He felt no pressure to reject Li Yuanqing. The reputation of Li's technology in its past life has been full of ups and downs. In the early days after the cataclysm, Li's technology acted in a similar style to other transcendent level groups. Starting from the 5th year of the cataclysm era, it suddenly began to vigorously rescue civilians and assist the Daxia officials, and the reputation suddenly became worse. But in the 8th year of the cataclysm era, Li's technological persona suddenly collapsed. He was exploited and plundered in various ways, his face was ugly, and he even started civil strife, and his reputation fell to the bottom. The reason is unknown to Lu Cheng. In his previous life, he rose to power in the 14th year of the cataclysm era, and he doesn't know much about the previous secrets. By the time he was gaining momentum, Li's technology was already in dire straits, and there were even some destabilizing operations that harmed many people. Therefore, his impression of Li's technology is really average. Your Majesty, don't you think about it anymore? If that's the case. Li Yuanqing's face darkened. He had been in Li's technology for many years and had rarely been rejected so directly. At this time, a girl's figure walked into the room. Uncle 13, what you did is against the rules. She spoke calmly, her voice small but firm. Lu Cheng turned around and looked. This girl is about 1.65 meters tall. She is about 17 or 18 years old. She wears a plain white dress. Her skin is as white as snow, her eyes are clear and lively, her nose is straight, her lips are full and round, and her long hair is tied into a ponytail behind her head. The human temperament is extremely clear. Lu Cheng frowned slightly. He looked familiar to this person, but he couldn't remember it for the moment. When a disaster strikes, I recruit talents for the group. What's wrong with the rules? Are you only allowed to recruit troops for your own family? Seeing the girl coming, Li Yuanqing's face turned cold. No. The girl shook her head, and then spoke seriously. The Li family's ancestral teachings are to use power to suppress others, to intimidate and induce. This is not the right way, and it is not allowed. Li Yuanqing sneered. You don't seem to be the head of my family, right? Why do you care about my family division? The girl remained calm. Are you following the teachings of your ancestors, or are you succumbing to power? Call. Li Yuanqing let out a long breath and waved his hand. That's all. Since my young lady insists on obstructing it, I won't recruit you, okay? After saying that, he picked up the stone and left. Wait, Uncle 13. The girl spoke again. How? Li Yuanqing was a little impatient. He came here for the remains of the Lingtai. You promised before, so you can't break your promise. Give him the things in exchange. The girl's eyes were clear and she pointed at the equipment scattered on the table. What? Li Yuanqing couldn't believe it. What did I promise? You said before that he took out 7 pieces of level 3 equipment, which were worth enough in exchange. The girl pointed at the remains of the spiritual platform in Li Yuanqing's hand. Then, even if you don't recruit, there is no reason to regret it. Why? Hundreds of people died in our northeastern branch. Who will bear the loss? I'll come out, the girl said calmly, seeing Li Yuanqing arguing with the girl. Lu Cheng on the side looked confused. He wasn't too worried about what Li Yuanqing had done. Now is the early stage of the catastrophe, the order has collapsed, and he has 100 ways to get the remains of the spiritual platform. It's just that someone from Li's technology suddenly came out and spoke to him for no reason, which surprised him a little. But it makes sense when you think about it. There can be several factions in a village. In a group as big as Li's technology, it is normal for the factions to be at odds. It's just this guy. Looking at the girl's face, Lu Cheng was puzzled. This girl looked familiar to him, he must have seen her somewhere before, but it was very hazy and he just couldn't remember. Soon, the quarrel between the two came to an end. Although the girl always kept her voice low, her attitude was very firm. Li Yuanqing's eyes were filled with anger, but he seemed a little wary of the other party's identity. Okay, since you are willing to bear the loss, then give it to him. Anger flowed in Li Yuanqing's eyes, and regardless of his demeanor, he threw the remains of the spiritual platform on the ground, got up and left. Don't be too proud. There was someone who protected you before the disaster. Now in this chaotic world, how long do you think your identity will be useful? Your brother Li Mufeng's position as chief has long been unstable. When he arrived at the door, Li Yuanqing said coldly. Hearing this, the girl didn't react much. She picked up the remains of the mourning platform, wiped the ashes, hesitated, and handed it over. It's yours. Facing Lu Cheng, her previous calmness suddenly disappeared. However, there was a storm in Lu Cheng's heart. After Li Yuanqing mentioned it, he finally got the call. The girl in front of her slowly overlapped with a blurry face in her memory, and slowly became clearer. Xiao Mushui, a name that he had memorized for a long time in his previous life, rang in Lu Cheng's heart. It turns out to be her, Xiao Mushui. No wonder it looks familiar. Recognizing Xiao Mushui, Lu Cheng felt a little ups and downs. This is a character who astonished the entire early and middle stages of the disaster. However, compared to the name Xiao Mushui, she is more widely known by another name. Ice Divine Maiden. This is the name of her new job. Ice and Snow Divine Maiden, Transcendent Level Transfer, only one step away from Divine Level. In the 5th year of the catastrophic era, Great Sha is in danger. It is surrounded by enemy countries outside and there are giants fighting for power inside. At the time of crisis, Xiao Mushui transferred to the Divine Maiden of Ice and Snow, and rose up from the desperate situation. She transferred her talent to Double Transcendent, shining like a shooting star, and sustained most of the summer alone. Lu Cheng started to gain momentum in the 14th year of the disaster. In the era when Xiao Mushui was shining brightly, he was still struggling to survive. He only crossed paths with Xiao Mushui once. In the 8th year of the era of Cataclysm, the earth-splitting rebellion broke out and swept across Daxia. The city where he was located was besieged by a wave of monsters. When the situation is critical, the Ice and Snow Divine Maiden arrives, fighting against millions of monsters alone and saving the lives of a city. In the same year, in order to curb the turmoil of the cracked earth, the Ice and Snow Divine Maiden fell after 100 battles. In the 3 years since her rise, there have been powerful enemies on all sides of the country, but she has not dared to invade Daxia. It turns out, she is from Li Technology. Lu Cheng suddenly realized. From Li Yuanqing's few words, he heard a lot of information. Xiao Mushui was not only born in Li Technology, but also had a high status in it. He didn't think about this before, but now looking back, all the previous doubts and mysteries have been solved. Li's Technology's reputation for rapid changes is very consistent with the Ice and Snow Divine Maiden in terms of time. Li's Technology has worked hard to serve the country for 3 years, which happened to be the 3 years when Ice and Snow Divine Maiden rose. Lu Cheng nodded secretly. Now, the Xiao Mushui in front of her is still an immature girl, waiting to bloom, and it is difficult to connect her with the Ice and Snow Divine Maiden in later generations. Here you go. Xiao Mushui's aura became weaker and weaker. In previous lives, people's impression of Bingshe Divine Maiden was very simple. He had good character, strong strength, and a cold and arrogant personality. Some people also say that she is not cold and arrogant, but simply introverted and socially fearful. No one believed this statement, and it soon disappeared. After all, a divine maiden who is strong enough to cover the entire Great Sha really doesn't go well with the word introvert. Moreover, if there is a global catastrophe and society is gone, what else will society fear? But, with things like today, it seems possible. Thanks. Lu Cheng took the stone and said sincerely. Xiao Mushui really helped a lot in this matter today. Otherwise, he would have had to fight with Li Yuanqing for several rounds if he wanted to get the remains of the spiritual platform without using force. He didn't add much drama. After all, now, little Kurami is alone. It doesn't feel right to tell Li's Technology daughter that I will remember you as a favor or something. Seeing Lu Cheng accept the stone, Xiao Mushui bit her lip and mustered up the courage to speak. I'm sorry about what happened today. Let me give you a blessing. Lu Cheng was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Xiao Mushui raised her hand, and a faint white light swayed in her palm and fell on Lu Cheng. Ding, Xiao Mushui blesses you, moving speed +1, health recovery speed +1, mana recovery speed +1, lasting 12 hours. Closing square bracket. You're welcome. After adding the blessing, Xiao Mushui left as if fleeing. Returning to her room, she finally breathed a sigh of relief. Liu Cheng. After taking a moment, Xiao Mushui muttered. Just now, she was a little clever. Taking advantage of the opportunity of blessing, I saw the other person's name. Didi. On the table, the communicator rang. This communicator is about the same size as a brick, and its shape is very similar to the old Big Brother. Xiao Mushui needs both hands to hold it firmly. When a disaster strikes, no fiber optic cable, telephone line or anything else is spared, and conventional communications are immediately paralyzed. However, as a giant, Li technology has its own emergency measures. Picking up the communicator, Xiao Mushui saw the message on it. Li Mufeng. Did you have a conflict with Li Yuanqing? Xiao Mushui. Yeah, Li Mufeng. What's going on? Tell me. Xiao Mushui recalled and typed. She has nothing to hide from her brother. She is usually very soft-tempered, but she is very insistent only when it comes to ancestral teachings. Because of this, many people in the family dislike him, and only Li Mufeng supports her. Just this time today, she took the initiative to argue with others. Xiao Mushui's fingers were flying and she quickly finished telling what happened. Li Mufeng replied instantly. You had a conflict with the people from the separated family because you were trying to help this Liu Cheng. Xiao Mushui typed. Yes. Li Mufeng. Why? Soon, he sent a second message. Are you planning to use your family's investment quota to bet on him? Xiao Mushui. No, I didn't plan to help him. Li Mufeng. Why is that? In the northeast region, our family does not have much power. It will be detrimental to you to conflict with the branch family in advance. Xiao Mushui bit her lip, and then started to move her fingers. My talent is that I can see the qi in others. Or luck, which is more appropriate. Beside me, people with bright luck colors have awakened better talents. Luck that is dark in color usually dies at the hands of monsters soon. Ever since we arrived at the settlement and the warning of the monster wave came out, the luck on each of us has been black. It's the same for more than 7,000 people, without any exception. Until Liu Cheng showed up, he was the only exception. I couldn't see the qi in him. After Xiao Mushui finished sending a long series of messages, there was no movement on the other end. After a few minutes, the communicator came back on. Li Mufeng. Let's put this matter aside for now. What's important is the monster wave. Monster tides are extremely dangerous and must not be taken lightly. Li Mufeng was quite serious. So far, 7 of the 29 settlements controlled by Li's technology have experienced monster waves. There are 3 members of my family, but only one can be defended. The price is very high. Counting the casualties, tens of thousands of people died. The family was divided into 4 settlements and the entire army was annihilated. According to the information they sent back, there are at least thousands of monsters in the monster wave. They are led by Black Iron level boss, and their level is at least level 5. And, this is still a monster wave that is launched very early. The later it is launched, the higher the intensity. Look at the message on the communicator. Xiao Mushui opened her eyes wide. The only settlement that fought back the monster wave suffered tens of thousands of deaths. The casualties among the people from the other 7 settlements will only be greater. On the communicator, the message popped up again. However, the intensity of the monster tide is also related to the region. Judging from the statistics of this half-day, the intensity of monsters in the southern region is significantly lower than that in the central region. I don't know what the situation is in the northeast. If you judge that you can't compete, you can evacuate in advance. The settlement is important, but if the people are gone, everything is gone. You are more important to this family. Okay, that's it, stay safe. Putting down the communicator, Xiao Mushui's face was a little pale. The attributes of monsters far exceed those of humans at the same level. Even a level 1 zombie requires the combined efforts of 3 or 4 people to kill it. Black Iron level boss, she had only seen it once, and it had tens of thousands of HP. Moreover, that is only the level 1 boss. Level 5 Black Iron boss. With the combat power of Settlement Note 1024, they may not be able to defeat them all together. At this time, a burst of rapid footsteps sounded, approaching from far away. Soon, someone opened the door and announced in a hurry, "Miss, the advance team sent by our family to detect the monster wave, is back." Li Yuanqing kept tapping his index finger on the table, his expression uncertain. "Only 2.5 of the reorganized advance team will come back." When the advance team he sent returned, his assistant reported the situation immediately. Of the 20-person advance team, only 3 came back alive. Among them, the most seriously injured one had half of his body bitten by the monster, and was carried back by his companions. The other 2 were lighter, but equally scarred. "Commander, with the current medical conditions, I'm afraid, only one of these 3 team members can be saved." The assistant lowered his head to report, his voice trembling slightly. The news had a huge impact on him. Li Yuanqing's face was ashen. Among these 20 people, the lowest is level 2, and their talents are not bad. They are considered to be very powerful now. Except for the 4 temporarily recruited volunteers, the rest were all his subordinates. They were usually quick at work and had a flexible mind, so they were incorporated into the advance team by him. Before the disaster, these were all the elites of Li's technology. However, a mission to find out the whereabouts of a wave of monsters almost led to their complete annihilation. The battle damage was much higher than he expected. "Walk." Li Yuanqing waved his hand and motioned for his assistant to take him over. In the temporary medical room, he met the 3 advance team members. Several school desks were put together into simple hospital beds, and the 3 team members lay on the beds and received treatment. The most seriously injured person has fallen into a coma, and the injuries of the other 2 are also shocking. In their wounds, blood seeped out through the thick bandages, anomaly dark green. Seeing this, Li Yuanqing's heart sank. This is not the science and technology park of Lishi Technology, and the medical conditions are too limited. It is difficult to ensure even the most basic sterile environment, let alone detoxification. Moreover, after the catastrophe, the world changed suddenly, and there was even such a thing as an attribute panel. He also didn't know how effective conventional medical treatments were for humans. If detoxification is really needed, none of these 3 people may survive in the end. Your blood was shed for Daxia, and Li Technology will remember you. Li Yuanqing sighed. "Commander. Run." An advance team member heard the sound and reluctantly opened his eyes. His eyes were full of fear. He reached out with all his strength and held Li Yuanqing's wrist. "The monster wave is too scary, we can't defeat it." "It's good to be back, don't be afraid." The expression on Li Yuanqing's face seamlessly switched to warmth, and he comforted softly. "Come, tell me the specific situation of the monster wave." 10 minutes later, Li Yuanqing returned to the office with a gloom on his face. He took out a pen and paper, scrawled and summarized the situation. First, the composition of the monster wave is relatively simple. There are no more than 3 types of monsters, and the level is no less than level 5. 2. As of now, the number of monsters gathered exceeds 1,000, and it is still increasing, and the speed is very fast. Third, its aggressiveness has been greatly enhanced, and the warning range has been expanded 10 times to nearly 500 meters. Once it enters the range, it will be locked as a target. Fourth, there are elite-level monsters appearing in the monster tide. It is suspected that they are not the supreme leader of the monster tide. Putting down his pen, Li Yuanqing looked gloomy. This is the information that 20 advance team members sacrificed their lives for. Before the advance team even got close, they were discovered by the monster wave and had no choice but to flee in panic. There are 2 types of monsters chasing them, level 5 silverback poisonous insects and level 6 rubber monsters. Among them, there is a level 6 elite level rubber monster with a HP of 14,000 points. Among the 17 people killed in battle, 14 died at the hands of this elite rubber monster. 3 others were poisoned by silverback poisonous insects. Call. Li Yuanqing let out a long breath. He had prepared for the worst as much as possible. But now he found that the situation was still much more serious than he thought. Originally, it was in his imagination. If the monster wave hasn't taken shape yet, there is an option to dispatch large forces to eliminate the monster wave in advance. But now it seems that it doesn't work at all. Even leaving aside the elite monsters. The current monsters alone are not something they can handle now. At present, there are only more than 7,000 people in Settlement No. 1024. Counting the survivors who came later, there were only 20 to 30,000 at most. Although there is an advantage in numbers. But in terms of level, it is an absolute disadvantage. The experience level of a first-level monster is only 7 or 8, which needs to be divided among 3 or 4 people. It is too difficult to upgrade. Most people are still at level 1, not many are at level 2, and even fewer are at level 2 or above. There are at least 1,000 monsters in the Beast Tide, and they are at least level 5. In addition, the information sent to him by the Branch family was also not optimistic. If we can't match it, we may really have to abandon the settlement and evacuate. According to the information given to him by the Branch, the monster wave will not surround the settlement, but the primary purpose is to destroy the core of the settlement. If we give up protecting the core of the settlement, it won't be a problem for most people to evacuate safely. Li Yuanqing clenched his hands until his joints turned white. When the world is full of monsters, a safe zone is too important and he doesn't want to give up. Just as he was thinking about it, his assistant whispered from the side. Commander, my family wants to share information with us. Li Yuanqing narrowed his eyes slightly. The main family, or the main family in Settlement No. 1024. In the settlement, but they said there is information from the family. Oh, Li Yuanqing raised his head slightly. Have the scouts they sent out come back? No, and it seems that hope is slim. Just now, one of the team members woke up and said that, during the escape, he seemed to have seen the corpse of our scout. I know. Li Yuanqing's tone softened slightly. Reply to them, yes. The assistant lowered his head to operate, and his expression immediately changed. Commander, it's bad, the people found out. Li Yuanqing raised his eyebrows, understood immediately, and quickly opened his panel. Sure enough, there was panic in the dialogue box. Everyone, I just saw the team exploring the monster wave, 20 or 30 people, only 2 came back. How is it possible? The people who can be included in the team are at least level 2 experts. If you look at it from a distance, how can there be so many casualties? I also saw it, it's absolutely true. There was a level 3 warrior among them, and he saved my life on the way to the settlement. I can't be wrong. When he came back, he only had half of his body left. What? Even level 3 warriors can't survive. I'm only level 1.5. Who aren't you going to fight? The tide of monsters is coming, and they're all going to die. Panic quickly spread in the chat room. The end of the world suddenly comes, and life is threatened at any time. Under such great changes, ordinary people are very helpless. Lishi Technology stepped forward at this time to maintain order and protect the people, playing a semi-official role. Therefore, most people in the settlement trust and rely on Li's technology. Li's technology sent 2 advanced teams to investigate the monster tide, and they also knew about it. The news that the entire advanced team was wiped out was like a bolt from the blue to them. Chapter 11. Li Yuanqing pondered for a long time, closed his eyes and meditated, and kept organizing sentences in his mind. In this situation, morale is low, which is a good opportunity to gain prestige. The southern edge of the settlement. Lu Cheng took out the remains of the spiritual platform. Holding it in your hand, the properties of this treasure fragment are revealed. Lingtai relics. Type. Talisman type. Does not need to occupy the equipment slot. If you hold multiple talismans at the same time, only one will take effect. Closing square bracket. Quality. Closing square bracket. Special effect 1. Mana pouring. The holder enjoys 10% cooldown reduction, can be stacked with other cooldown reduction equipment. Special effect 2. Exquisite 7 orifices. The holder enjoys 10% spell blood sucking. Special effect 3. Urgent as law. Holder's casting speed plus 20%. Looking at the properties of the Lingtai's remains, Lu Cheng smiled. Now, he finally knows how good the Dharma God was in his previous life. Others may think these 3 special effects are average. But Lu Cheng was a mage in his previous life, and his family was very clear. Put it in the hands of a mage and it will be a real divine weapon. Only the Archmage can understand the value of these 3 special effects. First of all, there is the mana pouring. Provides 10% cooldown reduction. Although, after leveling up, there are a lot of equipment that provide cooldown reduction. However, the attribute of cooldown reduction is very special and cannot be superimposed. It provides 10% CD of equipment. There is no difference between wearing one piece and wearing 5 pieces. They both only have 10% CD. But the CD attributes provided by Lingtai relics can be superimposed. This is equivalent to 10% more CDs for no reason. This is so valuable. The same goes for the other two, both of which are the most urgently needed attributes for mages. Spells suck blood, and cast speed. Take Liu Cheng's current passive at level 1800. If a fireball hits it, it will suck 180 points of blood. It doesn't look like much, but his total HP is less than 200 points. With the special effect of 7 orifices, as long as you are not killed instantly, one fireball can fill it up. The same goes for the law of haste in Article 3. If it were put before, when fighting against the stone beetle cave dweller, this 20% casting speed would allow him to create an extra fireball between dodges. These are just the attributes of the Linglong Heart fragment before it is unsealed. After the lockdown is lifted, the effect will at least double or triple. However, he is not in a hurry to unblock it. The resources required to unlock the treasure must be produced in at least level 30 Secret Realm. Moreover, Liu Cheng is very doubtful whether the unlocking resources of the level 30 Secret Realm can unlock the seal of the Lingtai relic. Put away the remains of the spiritual platform. Liu Cheng nodded with satisfaction, opened the chat box and scrolled through it. The previous chaos only stopped when Li Yuanqing spoke. Li Yuanqing spoke for a long time, generally admitting the advance team's disastrous defeat, and then stated that the reason why the advance team suffered heavy casualties was because they encountered the level 6 elite rubber monsters who commanded the monster tide, and chose to sacrifice their lives in exchange for information about the monster tide. Then, he announced the information about the monsters and called on everyone to join Li's technology in resisting the tide of monsters, and not to abandon the settlement until absolutely necessary. After Li Yuanqing's speech, morale improved significantly, but it was still quite depressed. At this time when everyone is generally still at level 1, the oppression of level 6 elite monsters is too strong. In comparison, the number of more than 2,000 monsters is not that scary. Those who can make it all the way to the settlement may have avoided hundreds or even thousands of monsters on the way. Turning off the chat box, Liu Cheng shook his head slightly. 2,000 is not the limit of the monster wave. The number of monsters in the formed monster wave will not be less than 5,000. Level 6 elite monsters are not qualified to lead the monster tide. The real wave of monsters is yet to come. Now, the wave of monsters that scares more than 7,000 people in the settlement is most likely just a small wave of pioneers. However, Li Yuanqing's information saved him a lot of trouble. The 5th level monster is the silver-backed poisonous insect, the 6th level monster is the rubber monster, and there is another one. Liu Cheng thought in his mind. In the past 20 years of Daxia, he has experienced thousands of monster waves, and he is too familiar with the monster waves. From a large amount of experience, people gradually summarize the rules. Beast Tide Law 1. The first wave of monsters caused by the unlocking of the settlement can have up to 3 types of monsters. There are 3 types of monsters, which means there will be 3 elite monsters and 3 black iron level BOSSs in the Beast Tide. As for the type of monster, it is related to the type of settlement core. The bronze tree belongs to the metal life type, and among the monster tide, there will be at least one kind of mechanical monster. After thinking for a while, Liu Cheng had the answer in his mind and stepped out of the settlement. He did not go out from the north where the monster wave was approaching, but left from the southern border. Although Liu Cheng is sure to repel the monster wave. But it's not a direct penetration. He is only at level 4 now, and has only 2 skills in total. If he is surrounded by monsters, he will be out of control in less than 5 seconds. Naturally, it is a tricky way. More than an hour later. Outside an abandoned chemical factory, Liu Cheng stopped. Inside the factory gate and around the drainage channel, there were large silver-backed and green-backed beetles crawling around. They were no smaller than the previous stone beetles. There are many crawling tracks on the ground leading to the north. Liu Cheng approached slowly and observed secretly. It is about 20% faster than stone beetles and can be kited. After looking at it for a while, he made a judgment. Then he raised his hand and summoned an energy shield. The energy shield skill is only level 1, and its original CD and duration are the same. However, with the Lingtai relic, his CD can be improved 6 seconds in advance, so there will be no gaps. With the blessing of endless absorption, the level 1 energy shield can also withstand more than 1800 points of damage, which is sufficient for the current level. Standing at the gate of the factory, Liu Cheng chose the right angle and shot out a fireball. Bang! 1902. As soon as a fireball fell, the silver-backed poisonous insects roared and charged towards them. Not only one, but a dozen silver-backed poisonous insects nearby also rushed over. Liu Cheng didn't panic and ran outside. He had already observed the surrounding terrain. If he did not attract more than 30 silver-backed poisonous insects at a time, there would be no danger. 4.5 seconds later, the fireball CD improved, and Liu Cheng turned around and fired another fireball. Bang! 1911. The silver-backed poisonous insect's health bar was emptied, and it fell to the ground dead, exploding green liquid all over the ground. Ding! You killed the silver-backed poisonous insect, level 5, and gained plus 102 experience points. Closing square bracket. Liu Cheng is now at level 4. He has skipped level 5 and single-handedly killed level 5 monsters. His experience bar has increased a little. Level 4 to level 5 requires 22,000 experience points. Liu Cheng glanced at the panel. After confirming that it was a silver-backed poisonous insect, he kept rolling out fireballs one by one with his hands. Soon, more than a dozen silver-backed poisonous insects fell down. After resting for a few minutes, Liu Cheng's status was replenished. With the double mana recovery from the secret magic ring and Xiao Mushui's blessing, his mana recovery is very fast. He came to the factory gate again and used the terrain to swipe silver-backed poisonous insects like crazy. To start, one requires 2 fireballs. An hour later, with the number of endless absorption stacks reaching 2,900, he could kill the silverback poisonous insect instantly with just 1 fireball. It's faster this time, as each silver-backed poisonous insect fell down. Another hour later, Liu Cheng reached level 5. At the same level as the silverback venomous insect, it has less experience, only 87 points. Liu Cheng didn't care about this either. Anyway, he didn't play silverback venomous insects for experience. 3 hours later, a system voice sounded. Ding! You killed a large number of silver-backed poisonous insects, which attracted the attention of elite-level silver-backed poisonous insects. Elite-level silverback venomous insects will appear in 30 minutes, please stay away as soon as possible. Countdown to 30 minutes. Closing square bracket. Listening to this prompt, Liu Cheng nodded. Silver-backed poisonous insects also have swarming characteristics. If you kill too many mobs, they will attract elites and then alert the boss. However, for monsters like this below level 10, there is only one elite in the community. The elite monster attracted now is the one in the monster wave. The 30-minute countdown confirmed this. Because of the distance, the countdown was 3 times longer. After rolling out a fireball and killing the last silver-backed poisonous insect attracted, Liu Cheng smiled. This is the effect he wants. For him, he would have more control over the elite monsters here alone than in the monster wave. Facing the monster wave directly could not save the people of the settlement, so he chose to save the country through a curve. There are still 7 hours and 14 minutes left before the monster wave attacks the settlement. 5 hours later, more than 6,000 people arrived at the settlement, bringing the population to 13,000. Among them, most people choose to go out to level up. Before the tide of monsters comes, the more strength you can have, the more sure you can survive. Only when they are exhausted or injured do they return to the settlement to recuperate. On the north side of the settlement, many people looked hard and looked worried. Boom, boom, boom. The ground shook slightly. Hearing the shaking sound, many people's expressions changed. This is the sound of the monster tide marching across the earth. This is the movement that 2,000 monsters can make. In the crowd, a young man's face turned pale. He had seen the military parade in the capital of Daxia. 5,000 soldiers marched in order, but they could not let the ground tremble slightly and spread so far. The real number of monsters is probably much higher than 2,000. He looked around and saw many frightened faces. He is not the only one who realizes this. Abandoned factory. The elite is still on the way. Liu Cheng continues to brush the silver-backed poisonous insects while checking the attributes. Name: Liu Cheng. Level: 5. Experience value: 14%. Occupation: Mage. HP: 190 190ths. Mana: 347 440ths plus 30. Strength: 9. Agility: 9. Constitution: 10. Intelligence: 10 plus 10. Spirit: 23 plus 12. Free attribute points: 16 points. Physical attack: 14. Magic attack: 25 plus 25. Skill: Fireball LV2 plus 1. Proficiency: 278 300ths. Energy Shield LV1. Proficiency: 85 200ths. Talent: Endless Absorption LV1. Proficiency: 378 1000ths. Number of casts: 378. Skill damage increase: 3780. Equipment: Arcane Ring, Beginner's Cloak, Deadly Spellcaster, Spirit Tablet Relics. Since level 3, Liu Cheng has not added any points, and now he has accumulated 16 points. Equipped with the Arcane Ring and the Deadly Spellcaster's Staff, he sparingly used mana, which was not too scarce. In addition, there was no shortage of damage, so he simply kept some. Liu Cheng took his time and could kill a silver-backed poisonous insect with each fireball. In fact, with his current damage, he can definitely kill level 7 or even level 8 monsters. The blood volume of the silver-backed poisonous insect is about 2900, which is relatively thick. Many level 7 monsters only have this amount of HP. Endless Absorption has more than 3700 stacks, and one of his fireballs does nearly 4000 damage, killing him instantly. However, Liu Cheng still insisted on brushing the silver-backed poisonous insects. Now we have just lured out the elite monsters, and there is also a black iron boss waiting. The black iron level silver-backed poisonous insect boss is his real target. Hiss. The chirping of insects sounded, and a huge silver-backed poisonous insect appeared in the distance. Coming. Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. Facing the silver-backed poisonous insect elites rushing over. Liu Cheng waved his staff, added an energy shield, and rolled out a fireball. Bang! Dash! 3715. The damage figure of nearly 4000 appeared, and the silver-backed poisonous insect elite's health bar suddenly dropped by nearly a quarter. The blood volume of elite monsters is generally about 5 to 8 times that of ordinary monsters of the same type. With Liu Cheng's current output, there is no pressure at all on single brushing. Hiss. The elite silver-backed poisonous insect roared sharply and rushed over. Suddenly, the eggs were laid, and under the bombardment of Liu Cheng's fireballs one by one, the elite poisonous insect quickly bottomed out and fell down with a thud. However, the elite-level silver-backed poisonous insect fell, but Liu Cheng did not receive the system prompt. Is there any backup plan? Liu Cheng was extremely steady and retreated far away. But its body suddenly swelled up and down, getting bigger and bigger. This is about to self-destruct. Liu Cheng was experienced and steadily added an energy shield, hiding his whole body behind the energy shield. 10 seconds later, bang! With a loud noise, the body of the elite-level silver-backed poisonous insect exploded, and dark green slurry exploded all over the ground. The slurry splashed onto the energy shield, making a sizzling sound like barbecue. The durability of the energy shield has dropped by more than 500 points. If he was hit by this self-destruction, he would suffer the same amount of damage. This does not include the subsequent poisoning and blood loss. But Liu Cheng was prepared, and this wave of self-destruction did not cause any harm to him. After self-destruction, the system prompt sounded. Ding! You killed the silver-backed poisonous insect, elite level, and gained plus 877 experience points. Closing square bracket. Elite level monsters also have quite a lot of experience, which is equivalent to more than 10 ordinary poisonous insects. Then, the second system sound came. Ding! In the battle to defend the settlement, you killed the level 5 elite, silverback venomous insect, and gained plus 50 combat merit. The battle settlement reward has increased. Closing square bracket. Hear this system sound. Liu Cheng nodded with satisfaction. This is what he wants. The reward for defending the settlement is quite generous. If you rank high, the rewarded items will even be much better than the equipment released by the boss itself. Then, Liu Cheng looked at the corpse of the elite-level silver-backed poisonous insect. In a piece of dark green slurry, several rays of light flickered from time to time, which were the exploding equipment. Liu Cheng slowly approached, rubbed a few fireballs to burn off the poisonous slurry, then took out a few pairs of gloves from the secret ring and put them on inside and out, before going to get it. 3 pieces of white equipment, 1 piece of rare equipment. After counting the harvest, Liu Cheng nodded slightly. Elite level among monster levels, the corresponding equipment is rare level. Unless you are a special elite, the best equipment to break out is rare level. You are lucky to be able to break out a rare piece of equipment. Among the 4 pieces of equipment, the only one he can use is a white one. Apprentice Gauntlet. Quality: Ordinary. Closing square bracket. Wearing requirements: Spell Profession. Closing square bracket. Physical resistance +5, magic resistance +7. Closing square bracket. Except for the apprentice's gauntlet, he had no use for the remaining 3 items. The rare equipment is a pair of gloves, which are weapons for fighting professions. In addition to equipment, there are more than a dozen origin stone fragments. Liu Cheng didn't care and put them all into the storage space. The bronze mission requires the sacrifice of 10 pieces of rare equipment, which is just in use. After taking a short rest, Liu Cheng continued his great work of clearing monsters. Now, he can directly kill monsters, and his efficiency has doubled compared to the beginning. It won't take long to bring back the Black Iron level boss. 3818. Ding, you killed the silver-backed poisonous insect, level 5, and gained +87 experience points. Closing square bracket. 3824. Ding, you killed the silver-backed poisonous insect, level 5, and gained experience points. Under each fireball, the silver-backed poisonous insects in the factory fell one after another. As the number of monsters spawned in Liu Cheng increased, groups of more than a dozen poisonous insects rarely appeared outside the factory. Usually there are small groups of 3 or 5. Later, Liu Cheng even had to enter the factory to kill monsters. However, there is no danger. In areas where poisonous insect monsters exist, dangerous mechanical monsters will not appear. 2 hours later, when Liu Cheng's experience bar rose to 91%, the system prompt came. Ding, you killed a large number of silver-backed poisonous insects and alerted the Black Iron level boss Silver-backed Poisonous Insect King. The Silverback Poison King will appear in 30 minutes, please stay away as soon as possible. Countdown to 30 minutes, closing square bracket. At the same time, Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. I didn't expect I would be so lucky this time. Listening to the movement in the factory building, Liu Cheng was a little surprised. In the factory, muffled thumping sounds could be heard from time to time, occasionally accompanied by the roar of monsters. Liu Cheng sniffed the tip of his nose and smelled a faint smell of rubber. In the factory, there is probably a level 6 rubber monster. Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. For him, this is great news. He farmed the silver-backed poisonous insects here just to lure the elite and Black Iron Bow SS level silver-backed poisonous insects back from the monster tide. Now, the silver-backed poison insect king has been alerted, but it will take half an hour to come back. This half hour is equivalent to a waste. The silver-backed poisonous insect is a level 5 monster. When he reaches level 6, the experience of farming the silver-backed poisonous insect will be much less. That was his original plan. You have to kill the silver-backed poisonous insect king here before you can find the next monster. There's nothing you can do about it. If you don't kill it in time, the silver-backed poisonous insect king will return to the monster tide. There are rubber monsters in the factory now, which saves him a lot of time looking for monsters. Liu Cheng estimated the time in his mind, cleared away the poisonous insects around him, and walked towards the factory. There are still more than 20 minutes left before the arrival of the silver-backed poison king. During this period of time, he can swipe dozens or hundreds of rubber monsters without any problem. Going around to the small door at the back of the factory, Liu Cheng blasted the door panel with a fireball. Bang! With the light of the fireball, Liu Cheng could see clearly the scene in the room. Inside the room were large groups of humanoid monsters, at least 2.5 meters tall, covered in black, and with unusually thick limbs and torsos. He didn't rush in, so he made a fireball and threw it into the house. Bang! The fireball exploded and a monster fell to the ground. Ding! You killed the rubber monster, level 6, and gained plus 121 experience points. Closing square bracket. After confirming with his eyes, it was the rubber monster. It's a pity. If you have high-level fire skills, you should be able to ignite it. Liu Cheng said sincerely. Rubber itself is flammable, and these rubber monsters are only level 6, far from being able to escape their own special designation. However, the fireball technique itself is of a low level and does not have the ability to ignite rubber monsters. Roar! The companion fell to the ground, and the rubber monsters in the factory all paid attention. After discovering Liu Cheng, they roared. However, they were crowded at the door. The rubber monster is huge and has little intelligence, making it difficult to squeeze out of the small door. For a while, rubber monsters were stuck at the door, one after another, unable to move forward or retreat. Isn't this comfortable? Liu Cheng was happy. This method of blocking monsters can only be used in the early stages of Cataclysm. At the late stage, if a stronger monster comes along, the factory will be demolished for you. Facing a large group of rubber monsters stuck in the room, Liu Cheng had some free time and stood there slowly rubbing fireballs, which was easier than brushing silver-backed poisonous insects. Fireballs shot out one after another. The proficiency of his skills continues to rise. Endless absorption proficiency has exceeded 600 points, and the superimposed spell damage has exceeded 6,000. The upgrade threshold of 1,000 proficiency levels is getting closer and closer. There are also energy shield and fireball skills, each of which has been upgraded to 1 level after several hours of high-intensity monster spawning. The energy shield reaches level 2, which adds 30 points of durability, which is better than nothing. The fireball technique has been upgraded to level 3, and the proficiency level has been saved by nearly half. It is expected to be upgraded. In addition to the special effect of Deadly Caster, Fireball level +1, the damage of level 4 Fireball is only 55 points, which is pitiful. However, Liu Cheng was quite interested. Because every 5 levels of spell skills, there is an opportunity for enhancement. You can increase damage, add certain special effects to skills, or reduce CD. You can choose the direction yourself, which is equivalent to a wave of small evolution. However, the 5th level Fireball technique should be quite rare. Liu Cheng laughed. As a skill that comes with it right from the start, Fireball is justifiably weak. Whether it is damage, range, mana consumption, or growth, the legal system ranks at the bottom. So, for mages, finding skills to replace fireballs is particularly critical. Liu Cheng was like this in his previous life. At level 3, I spent almost all my money in exchange for a Ice Arrow skill book. At the same level, Ice Arrow's mana consumption and cooling are twice that of Fireball, but its damage is 4 times that of Fireball. It also has a chance to have a freezing effect. The same goes for other mages. The first step to get out of the cage is to replace the Fireball spell. But, for Liu Cheng now, there is no such thing. Although the damage of Fireball is extremely low, its CD is short and it is quite comfortable to use to increase passive layers. More than 20 minutes later, guessing that the silver-backed poisonous insect king was coming soon, Liu Cheng walked out of the factory. The consumption of brushing the rubber monster is very small. A few minutes are enough for him to return to full state and face the boss. Really, within a few minutes, a giant poisonous insect came into view. This poisonous insect is so fat that its body is bulging like a small oil tanker. At first glance, it locked onto Liu Cheng. Liu Cheng looked back, and the attributes of the silver-backed poisonous insect king emerged. Silver-backed poisonous insect king. Level 5, Black Iron level boss. HP, 87,000. Physical attack, magic attack, closing square bracket. Physical resistance, legal resistance, closing square bracket. Skill, closing square bracket. Special status, being summoned by the monster tide. Closing square bracket. The boss in the monster wave has full attributes, and the silver-backed poisonous insect king has a full 87,000 HP. But it doesn't matter to Liu Cheng. He is now passive at 6000 levels and has little pressure on output. Hiss. The silver-backed poisonous insect king hissed and rushed over. From the perspective of conventional attack methods, this black iron boss is not much different from ordinary monsters. It mainly relies on body collision and mouthpart bites. Liu Cheng took his time and rubbed the fireball with his hands. Bang. Dash. 3015. A fireball was thrown. Liu Cheng's eyes narrowed slightly. When fighting ordinary mobs before, his fireball damage would go up to 5000. It hit the silver-backed poisonous insect king, but only half of it was hit. This thing can reduce magic damage by 50%. It takes about 30 rounds. Calculating in his mind, Liu Cheng quickly moved around and circled around the surrounding buildings. 4.5 seconds later, the CD of the fireball improved and he was just in the most suitable position. The staff waved, and another fireball shot out. Bang. Dash. 3021. After throwing the fireball, Liu Cheng continued to move the kite without stopping for a second. After several back and forths, the silver-backed poisonous insect king's health bar dropped to 70%. Hiss. The silver-backed poisonous insect king hissed lowly and stopped chasing. His head was locked on Liu Cheng's movement. Seeing this, Liu Cheng turned around. In a situation like boss, you usually have to use a larger attack. The previous stone beetle cave dwellers were only level 2 bosses, all with skills. As one of the leaders of the monster wave, it is inevitable that the silverback poison king has skills. The only difference is whether he has 1 or 2. Liu Cheng faced the boss and moved slowly, looking for cover. The silver-backed poisonous insect king's scream became deeper and deeper. After a few seconds, it opened its mouth suddenly and spit out a mouthful of venom. Coming. Liu Cheng was already ready to go. He hid behind the courtyard wall and controlled the energy shield in front of him. Tisk. Venom splashed on the bunker, making a tooth-piercing corrosive sound. Most of the courtyard wall that was used as a shelter was dissolved by this venom, revealing the broken bricks and tiles. Liu Cheng himself was unscathed. Only a few drops of venom splashed on the energy shield, knocking off more than 70 points of durability. After carrying the ultimate move, Liu Cheng did not hesitate and fired the fireball. Bang. Dash. 3162. Bang. Dash. 3169. After unleashing his ultimate move, the silver-backed poisonous insect king was weak for a while and took 3 or 4 fireballs before he stood up. This time, it resumed its regular attack methods and crashed into Liu Cheng again. As a result, Liu Cheng easily dodged it and threw 2 more fireballs. It looks like it will probably launch a venom attack every time the blood volume drops by 30%. Liu Cheng took his time and continued to fly the kite, thinking about it in his mind. The skill range of the silver-backed poisonous insect king is not very large, so if you prepare in advance, it will not be difficult to dodge. Under the fireball, the silver-backed poisonous insect king's blood volume dropped rapidly. Sure enough, when the blood volume dropped to 40% and 10%, the silverback venomous insect king released 2 ultimate moves again. Liu Cheng perfectly dodged both times. With previous experience, even the durability of the energy shield was not lost these 2 times. After dodging his skills, Liu Cheng output like crazy. Seeing that the silver-backed poisonous insect king only has a bloody skin left, it can be killed with a fireball. Liu Cheng stopped. The energy shield's CD still has 10 seconds. After waiting for 10 seconds, he summoned a second energy shield, stacked the 2 shields together, and then Liu Cheng created a fireball. The previous elite silver-backed poisonous insect would self-destruct. Facing the black iron boss, he chose to defend against it. Throwing the fireball, Liu Cheng immediately retreated. Bang. Dash. 3202. The silver-backed poisonous insect king's health bar was emptied, and he fell to the ground with a bang. His body expanded rapidly and expanded and contracted violently. 10 seconds later. Bang. There was a loud noise and slurry splashed. Liu Cheng had already found a bunker and hid under it, with 2 energy shields in front of him. Tisk. The corrosion sound lasted for dozens of seconds before the system sound started to sound. Ding, you killed the black iron level boss silverback poisonous insect king and gained plus 2866 experience points. Closing square bracket. Then, there was a series of system prompts. Ding, you killed the Black Iron level boss Silverback Poisonous Insect King and gained plus 2866 experience points. Closing square bracket. Ding, you killed the Black Iron boss of the same level alone and got plus 10 free attribute points. Closing square bracket. Ding, you have reached level 6 and gained free attribute points plus 5. Closing square bracket. The upgraded white light flashed past Liu Cheng's feet, and suddenly, the fatigue all over his body was swept away. Single brushing the silver-backed poisonous insect king brought him 10 free attribute points. It's almost like getting promoted 2 levels in vain. My previous guess was correct. It had happened once before, but this time Liu Cheng was not surprised and looked behind for prompts. In the battle to defend the settlement, you killed the level 5 Black Iron boss, the Silverback Poisonous Insect King, and received plus 500 combat merit, and the battle settlement reward was greatly increased. Closing square bracket. The combat merit provided by the Silver-backed Poisonous Insect King is 10 times that of the previous elite monster, with a total of 500 points. Call. Liu Cheng took a deep breath and suppressed his excitement. The battle achievements of the monster wave have always been like this. Elite monsters are 10 times stronger than ordinary monsters, and bosses 10 times stronger than elite monsters. An ordinary silver-backed poisonous insect can only provide 5 points of combat merit even if it is killed alone. With these 500 merit points in hand, even if Liu Cheng does nothing next, he will still be in the top 3 at the end of the day. However, Liu Cheng was naturally not ready to stop. The higher the battle merit, the more generous the rewards will be at settlement. Moreover, the difference in rewards for a settlement that is defended or lost is not generally large. Liu Cheng clearly remembers that during the 2 monster waves, his combat performance ranking was barely in the top 100. Once held, once lost. When he lost, his reward was only 5% of the level experience. But when I succeeded, the reward was not only half a level of experience, but also a level 120 Black Iron treasure chest. This gap is completely like the sky and the earth. The next step is the equipment. At the body of the silver-backed poison insect king, apart from the slurry that exploded all over the ground, there were also a few glimmers of light. As usual, he threw a few fireballs for disinfection, and then Liu Cheng took a closer look. On the ground, 5 rays of light, 4 white and 1 blue, flashed. Common and rare level equipment have white light, while Black Iron level has blue light. In addition to the equipment, there are dozens of origin stone fragments scattered near the equipment. After a quick glance, Liu Cheng nodded slightly. It is normal for the Black Iron level boss to explode 4 or 5 pieces of equipment. The previous stone beetle cave dweller exploded 10 pieces, which is a bit abnormal. Liu Cheng looked at each item one by one. The first is a crystal, which is dark green in color and has a silver line in the middle. This is the boss crystal core of the silver-backed poisonous insect king. Boss core, silver-backed poisonous insect king. Quality, Black Iron level. Description: the crystal core of the level 5 boss silver-backed poisonous insect king seems to contain some kind of energy. Closing square bracket. Although the quality is Black Iron level, the boss crystal core is not equipment, but one of the 4 white lights. After a cursory glance, Liu Cheng ignored the description and put it directly into the secret ring. Large-scale development and use of the energy of the boss crystal core can only be done after humans have established a foothold and entered the city period. It is still far away from now. This thing is currently only available for Azure Bronze level tasks. After putting away the boss crystal core, Liu Cheng glanced at the other 3 pieces of equipment. Among them, 2 ordinary level items and 1 rare level item are not spell-based equipment. Liu Cheng didn't care and put them all into the storage space. The Azure Bronze level mission requires 10 pieces of rare level equipment, and the ones he can't wear can be used to submit the mission without wasting them. He saved that piece of Black Iron level equipment until the end. The Loner's battle clothes. Top column. Quality, Black Iron level. Closing square bracket. Wearing requirements. Spell profession, level 5 or above. Strength attribute above 10, agility attribute above 10, mental attribute above 20. Closing square bracket. Physical resistance plus 21, legal resistance plus 33, constitution plus 22. Closing square bracket. Special effect 1. Provides 10% spell damage reduction. Closing square bracket. Special effect 2. HP plus 525. Closing square bracket, comma. Look at the attributes of the aloof man's suit. Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. As a spell-based equipment, the aloof man's suit is a bit strange. Instead of adding intelligence or spirit, a full 22 points of physical attributes were added. However, it fits exactly what Liu Cheng needs. His damage is overflowing now, and his mana is not as tight as it was at the beginning. Survival attribute is his biggest shortcoming now. His various methods of spawning monsters without damage have created the conditions and terrain in advance. There is still danger if you really want to be surrounded by monsters. Although the energy shield is durable and thick, it can only block one direction. He is now at level 6, with a total of only 200 health points, and his body is very fragile. And this is the armor of the aloof man. Special effect 2 alone added more than 500 health points. There are still 22 points of constitution, and another 220 points of health. Putting on the Lonely One's battle suit, his blood volume will immediately soar to nearly 1,000 points. What a good thing. Liu Cheng praised it greatly. The aloof one's suit looks like a sci-fi style black leather jacket, very similar to the one in the Terminator movie, and has the same slots as the beginner's cloak. It was a bit inconsistent, but Liu Cheng didn't care. He quickly took off his beginner's cloak, rolled it up a few times and stuffed it into the storage space. Then, equip yourself with the aloof man's armor. After reaching level 6, each of the 5-dimensional attributes was increased by 1 point, which was just enough to meet the equipment requirements. Putting on the Gugao Jiji's battle suit, Liu Cheng immediately felt his physical strength doubled, and the strength in his body continued. His physical constitution was originally 10 points, but his improvement of 22 points was an immediate improvement. Finished counting the loot, Liu Cheng stretched his muscles and looked at the factory building. There are 3 black iron BOSS's in the monster wave, and this is just the lowest level one. The last 2, as well as the settlement reward, are the big ones. Liu Cheng didn't go around anymore, and directly hit the main entrance of the factory with a fireball. The trick before was that the blood skin was too thin, but this time the blood volume is nearly 1,000, and the front-on attack is more efficient. Bang! There was a loud noise, and the fireball landed so accurately that it just broke the door lock. Suddenly, the factory door opened, and countless rubber monsters swarmed out. Although it is clumsy and slow, the rubber monster is at least 2.5 meters tall and runs wildly, not much slower than Liu Cheng. Liu Cheng was fearless, summoned an energy shield, and rolled out a fireball. Bang! Dash! 6101. Ding! You killed the rubber monster, level 6, and gained plus 103 experience points. Closing square bracket. Then, he took his time and moved while outputting. As Liu Cheng rolled out fireballs one by one, rubber monsters kept falling all around. With the Aloofman uniform on his body, Liu Cheng's operating space is much larger, and he doesn't need to move as frequently as before. Now that survival is guaranteed, you can focus on killing monsters first. An ordinary rubber monster would only do 60 or 70 points of damage if it hit him. The Lingtai relic has 10% of its spells to suck blood, so it can be sucked back at will. In this way, the efficiency of killing monsters will be much higher. It only took an hour and a half to get the system prompts out. Ding! You killed a lot of rubber monsters and attracted the attention of elite-level rubber monsters. The elite-level rubber monster will appear in 27 minutes, please stay away as soon as possible. Countdown. At this rate, the rubber monster boss should also be able to make it in time. After making an estimate, Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. His purpose from the beginning was to bring back as many boss and elites as possible before the monster wave started. The monster wave in the early stage, boss and elites are completely killer level existences. The more you pull back, the greater your chances of winning. Now, there are more than 2 hours left before the monster wave, which is still plenty of time. Liu Cheng continued to take action and passively stacked up. 7,000 floors, 7,100 floors, 7,200 floors. When the passive stack reached 7,400 levels, a loud roar came from outside the factory, and the rubber monster elite had arrived. There is not much difference in attributes between level 6 and level 5 elite monsters. Liu Cheng took the initiative to greet him and greeted him directly with the fireball. Previously, the blood skin was too thin and I was forced to do it. Now that I have changed my equipment, it is much easier. With the HP bonus of Aloof One's armor, it is difficult for these small elites to pose a threat to him in the early stage. Soon, the rubber monster elite dropped to half health and cast its first skill. Boom! The rubber monster elite punched hard and stretched its forearm more than 10 times in an instant, trying to grab Liu Chang. 172. The energy shield bounced off the fist and lost more than 100 points of durability. Liu Chang deliberately slowed down a bit to test the elite monster's skills. The skills of this kind of low-level monster, elite and black iron level boss, will not be much different, and they are generally weakened versions. Soon, the rubber monster's elite skills were tested. There are 3 skills in total. Except for the initial telescopic arm. There are also heavy blows to the ground that send out shock waves, and bending the whole body, and then ejection and impact. None of the 3 skills pose much of a threat to Liu Chang. Only the shock wave is difficult to dodge, wiping away dozens of points of his health. Liu Chang waited for a while longer, watching the elite stop using his skills and create the last fireball. 7213. Ding! You killed the rubber monster, elite level, and gained plus 1312 experience points. Closing square bracket. Ding! In the battle to defend the settlement, you killed the level 6 elite, the rubber monster, and gained plus 60 combat merit. The battle settlement reward has increased. Closing square bracket. 2 system prompts sounded, one first and then the other. Liu Chang quickly swept the battlefield. The rubber monster elite didn't explode with anything good. He couldn't use a rare longbow, a few pieces of white equipment, and a dozen origin stone fragments. However, there is a gap in the 10 rare equipments for the Azure Bronze level mission, and he can also use these equipments from different professions. This longbow has a length of over 1 meter and can only be stuffed diagonally into the storage space. Then, he glanced at the properties panel. The proficiency level of endless absorption is already 750 points. There is still a quarter left, which is enough to upgrade. 250 points of proficiency. If you move quickly, you may be able to finish it before the rubber monster boss comes back. Liu Chang couldn't help but look forward to it. Just the level 1 endless absorption has brought him a terrifying improvement. The fireball technique alone can deal 7 or 8,000 damage. Even the mages who completed the second turn in the previous life may not be able to do it. What will be the effect of upgrading to level 2? Will new overlay slots be unlocked? As night fell, a system prompt sounded in settlement number 1024. Notice, 90 kilometers south and west of settlement number 1024, settlement No 1952 has been destroyed. Closing square bracket. The 5th one. The cold system prompt was like a heavy hammer, hitting everyone's heart hard. 90 kilometers away, a human settlement was destroyed. They have heard this tone 4 times, and this is the 5th time. There have been 5 settlements like theirs destroyed by monsters. The defense was successful, but not even once. And their wave of monsters is right in front of them. By now, the monster wave has taken shape and is approaching the settlement, with a distance of less than 2,000 meters. Standing in the northern part of the settlement, you can see pairs of scarlet eyes in the distance, getting closer and closer. On a high building, Li Yuanqing held a telescope and observed the situation among the monsters. The monster group is composed of 2 kinds of monsters, which are distinct from each other. There are 2,000 to 3,000 silver-backed poisonous insects on the left and rubber monsters on the right. When his eyes turned to the right, he saw an extremely huge figure, and his heart suddenly tightened. It was a giant rubber monster. Is this the elite monster that attacked you? He held the binoculars aside. The surviving member of the advance team was next to him. He took the telescope and took one look at it before his expression changed. No. His voice was trembling, as if he had been greatly shocked. That elite isn't that big, just a bit bigger than an ordinary rubber monster. This one is almost 4 or 5 times as big. The advance team members were throbbing. In the telescope, the giant rubber monster was at least 2 or 3 stories high. Is it the boss of the black iron level? Li Yuanqing's face was gloomy. It would be fine if it were just elite monsters. According to the information they brought back, the HP of the elite rubber monster was about 22,000. There are now more than 15,000 people in the settlement, and more than 90% of them can participate in the battle. There is still a chance to hold them back or even kill them. But if it's Black Iron level boss, that's not the case. Elites and boss are not at the same level in terms of combat power. With the size of this rubber monster boss, the killing area is too large, and it may be able to kill dozens of people with one blow. Moreover, the elites all have 22,000 health points. How high will the Black Iron level boss's health be? Uncle 13. On the side, a sturdy young man came closer and said, "Let me take my brothers up there. Within 5 people will be killed or injured, and we can find out the information about this monster." Li Yuanqing glanced at him. Even if there is information, such a huge murderer can only pay for it with his life. Uncle 13, we and other children are willing to die for the separation of the family. The young man said generously. No need. Li Yuanqing waved his hand. Whose life is not life? Although I long to achieve something, I am not ready to fight with the lives of 15,000 people. After speaking, he sighed. Prepare, arrange the evacuation arrangements. Suddenly, a group of monsters in the distance became restless. What happened? Li Yuanqing's heart sank and he raised his telescope. In the telescope, the elite-level rubber monster started to move. It pulled a few times, cleared a path, and took big steps. Soon, it broke away from the monster wave and disappeared from the end of the field of vision. At the same time, in the abandoned factory, the system sounded. Ding, you killed a large number of rubber monsters and alerted the Black Iron boss, Rubber Monster Butcher. Closing square bracket. The Rubber Monster Butcher will appear in 27 minutes, please stay away as soon as possible. Closing square bracket. Successful. Looking at the time, Liu Cheng smiled. This trick of attracting monsters is only effective now. Once the monster wave breaks out, it will be useless. And, in this hour, the proficiency level of his talent was finally maxed out. Now, just the last bit left. Liu Cheng waved his staff and threw a fireball. The next moment, there was another system sound. Ding, your talent Endless Absorption has been upgraded to level 2. Panel. Liu Cheng had a thought in his mind. Talent. Endless Absorption. Level. Transcending Divinity level. Level 2. Effect 1. Every time you cast a spell, you will get a permanently improved bonus effect. There is currently 1 bonus slot. Closing square bracket. Effect 2. 10% of your spell damage is converted into real damage. Closing square bracket. Bonus column 1. Each time you cast a spell, the damage of all skills will be permanently increased by 10 points. The damage must be caused to take effect. Closing square bracket. Bonus slot 2. Unlocked. Closing square bracket. Current casting times, 1000 times. Closing square bracket. Proficiency, 0 10,000ths. Endless Absorption has been upgraded to level 2, with an additional special effect. 10% true damage. See the extra effect. Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. The real damage ignores resistance. The number of points on the panel is the same as the hit. No matter what profession it is, this is a very powerful attribute. Ignoring resistance is too perverted. It was still in the early stages of the catastrophe. Facing the silver-backed poisonous insect with higher magic resistance, his 6,000 skill damage could only hit 3,000. The monster level is slightly higher, and there are many with high magic resistance. There are some who can reduce the damage by 80 to 90%, or even simply become immune to magic. If that happens, the 10% of real damage may be more useful than the other 90% of magic damage. After taking a glance, Liu Cheng was very satisfied. Although the second bonus slot is not unlocked. However, this 10% real injury was enough to keep him on edge for a long time. The Transcending Divinity level talent is well deserved. Turning off the panel, Liu Cheng walked out of the factory. Now, the rubber monster boss is on his way back. He no longer has to guard here and can intercept and kill him on the road. Moreover, after several hours of high-intensity monster spawning, his experience bar has reached level 698%, and he can level up right away. If you accidentally reach level 7, the rewards for defeating the same level boss alone will be gone. Attribute points are very precious, and he is not ready to let go of 12 free attribute points. Liu Cheng walked around the rubber monster corpses and walked out of the factory. Not far away, I heard a tremor on the ground. Boom, boom, boom. A muffled sound came from far away, and in the night, a giant rubber monster approached Liu Cheng. So big. Liu Cheng raised his eyes. This rubber monster butcher is at least 15 meters tall, like a mobile building, and it feels full of oppression. However, he has the information in hand and is not under much pressure. He had already figured out the skills of the rubber monster when he played against the elite before. The skills of the Black Iron boss are definitely stronger than those of the elites, but they are not much stronger. Stuck in the extreme range of his skill, Liu Cheng threw out a fireball. Bang! Dash! 10,002. A 5-digit damage number appeared above the rubber butcher's head. With the upgrade of Endless Absorption to level 2, Liu Cheng's passive layers have exceeded the 10,000 layer mark, and any skill can guarantee tens of thousands of damage. Roar! The rubber monster butcher roared and punched with a fist as big as a van. Dash! 495. Liu Cheng controlled the energy shield to block it, and the energy shield consumed more than 500 durability. He had little resistance. If this punch had hit him, he would probably have lost more than 500 blood. If he didn't have the aloof man's battle suit, it would be an instant kill. But Liu Cheng was quite relaxed. The rubber monster moves slowly. If it were just a regular attack, it would have enough time to block it with an energy shield. There are tens of thousands of layers of passive blessing, and the durability of the energy shield is also in 5 figures, which can withstand consumption. The only things that need to be guarded against are skills. Liu Cheng fought steadily, controlling the energy shield while outputting energy. Dash! 10,008. Dash! 10,015. 10,023. Fireballs fell one after another, and the rubber monster butcher's health dropped rapidly. The rubber monster butcher quickly became furious and cast his skills twice, but Liu Cheng dodged them both times. But Liu Cheng is not easy either. This boss is too big and its skill range is simply overwhelming. Even if I was prepared, it would still be awkward to get up. Soon, the rubber monster butcher's health bottomed out, he roared, and his figure suddenly expanded. Coming. Liu Cheng's eyes were sharp. This is a sign of a shock wave. The energy shield cannot block all the damage from the shock wave. This is the most dangerous time. Liu Cheng quickly retreated, hiding under the energy shield. A few seconds later, boom, the rubber monster butcher punched down his fists, causing the ground to tremble and creating a shock wave. Dash! 485. The shock wave swept across, and a damage number appeared above Liu Cheng's head. Suddenly, Liu Cheng's blood volume was only half left. The shock wave blocked by the energy shield knocked out half of his health. Liu Cheng rushed forward quickly, got stuck in the extreme casting range, and threw out a fireball. Dash! 10,100. As the rubber monster butcher lost blood, a green light flashed over Liu Cheng. Plus 485. Under the 10% magic blood-sucking power of Lingtai relics, he can directly absorb full blood with a fireball. Seeing that the rubber monster butcher had only his last bit of health left, Liu Cheng fired a fireball and sent him away. Then, the system prompts sounded one after another. Ding! You killed the Black Iron level boss rubber monster butcher and gained plus 3512 experience points. Closing square bracket. You killed the Black Iron boss of the same level alone and gained free attribute points plus 12. Closing square bracket. T has been promoted to level 7, gaining free attribute points plus 5 and skill points plus 1. Closing square bracket. In the battle to defend the settlement, you killed the level 6 Black Iron boss, the rubber monster butcher, and received plus 600 combat merit, and the battle settlement reward increased significantly. Closing square bracket. Comma. Call. Bathed in the upgraded white light, Mr. Liu exhaled a long breath. With the upgrade, the fatigue of the previous high-intensity monster spawning is gone. When upgrading, the status will be restored to full, including energy. This boss battle was the fastest since his rebirth. The rubber monster butcher's HP is around 120,000. Thanks to tens of thousands of layers of passivity, he hit all 12 fireballs, ending the battle immediately. It shouldn't be a problem for bosses up to level 10. Liu Cheng said sincerely. Monsters above level 10 will have their attributes greatly increased. However, once he reaches level 10, he will become much stronger even if he changes his mind. There is a huge difference in combat power before and after the job change. Those characters who showed their talents in the early stages of the disaster in the previous life all started to show their prominence after the first revolution. Liu Cheng is not worried about changing jobs. He has been a mage for 2 generations, he is too skilled. In his previous life, he developed a powerful job transfer plan for the mage system. After a short rest, Liu Cheng stepped forward to count the loot. 4 white items, 1 blue item. Not counting the boss crystal core, the rubber monster butcher exploded a total of 5 pieces of equipment. What made Liu Cheng a little surprised was that among the 4 white items, there were actually 2 from the magic system. Roadwalker boots, shoes column, quality, ordinary, closing square bracket. Wearing requirements, spell profession, closing square bracket, physical resistance plus 17, magical resistance plus 23, closing square bracket, azure blue belt, belt column, quality, ordinary, closing square bracket. Wearing requirements, spell profession, closing square bracket, physical resistance plus 15, magical resistance plus 22, closing square bracket, After looking at the white outfit, the highlight is left, the blue item. Origin of spiritual ring. Oh, Liu Cheng's eyes lit up when he saw the name of the item. The production of black iron level boss, the top level is black iron level. The 3 black iron boss before and after all had black iron level equipment, so you were very lucky. Liu Cheng was very satisfied and looked at the origin of the spiritual ring. He had used this kind of thing a lot in his previous life and was very familiar with it. Holding it in hand, the original properties of the spiritual ring are revealed. Origin of spiritual ring. Quality, black iron level. Closing square bracket. Effect, can be used on ring-type equipment, providing an increase, with a minimum 15% chance of improving its quality to black iron level. Closing square bracket. Restrictions. Ring-type equipment, the grade does not exceed level 10, and the quality does not exceed rare level. Closing square bracket. After reading the attributes, Liu Cheng nodded. Just like in his memory, this thing is a kind of equipment upgrade stone. And it's still a ring type, which is quite rare. Liu Cheng took off the secret ring. This rare ring was created by a 3rd-level mutated stone beetle. As he continued to level up, it was no longer enough. The most important thing is storage space. It is necessary to stock up on food, drinking water, and various explosive equipment. 1 cubic meter is really not enough. It was revealed earlier that the longbow was over 1 meter long, and it took him a lot of effort to stuff it into the storage space. Amplification secret ring. Liu Cheng picked up the source of the spiritual ring and used it directly. A faint blue light lit up, wrapping around the secret magic ring, constantly changing. Increasing, the time required is 20 minutes. The system prompts. Liu Cheng nodded slightly. He is still very optimistic about the chances of success in increasing the amount. Although the effect column says the minimum chance is 15%. But the actual probability depends on the equipment itself. The stronger the equipment, the lower the chance of upgrading. If the level is the top 10 and the quality is rare, then the lowest chance is 15%. The secret magic ring is only level 3, and the success rate is guaranteed to be in the 50s or 60s. Liu Cheng put away the secret magic ring, looked at the direction, and started on his way. There are still 20 minutes before the monster wave begins, and there is still the last level 8 boss left. The highest level boss will not escape the monster wave and can only be confronted head-on. It takes about 20 or 30 minutes to rush back to the settlement from here, just enough to complete the increase. Settlement no. 1024. Everyone, according to the original plan, prepare to fight. Li Yuanqing stood at the forefront and gave orders. Yes, defend the settlement. Beside him, nearly 1,000 people from Li Technology shouted loudly. Suddenly, impassioned shouts came one after another. Defend the settlement. Defend the settlement. There were more than 18,000 people in the settlement at this time, and more than 90% of them stood on the front line and obeyed the orders. If you take a step back, the settlement will be destroyed. At this critical moment, everyone is united as never before. Looking at this scene, Li Yuanqing nodded slightly. Then, He looked at Xiao Mushui and asked in a low voice, Mushui, how is the momentum going now? In just a dozen hours, his view of Xiao Mushui had changed a lot. The daughter of this family did not hide her secrets when she shared the information, which was a great help to him. And now, he is on the front line in person. Xiao Mushui's face was a little pale. She looked around and said, no, everyone is still covered in black energy, and it's getting thicker. It shouldn't be. Li Yuanqing frowned slightly. There are no elites among the monsters anymore. Are they still invincible? Everyone, stay in position, fight conservatively, and save your life first. In addition, personnel in the south will evacuate immediately. Li Yuanqing waved his hand. He made many preparations and moved the wounded, old and weak to the south to facilitate their escape if the situation went wrong. Following his arrangement, many people moved quickly. The battlefield is located between two residential buildings, and the space is not large. The melee profession is guarding the middle of the residential building. The remote ones boarded the residential buildings one after another and stood guard at the windows. Monster Wave Attack Countdown, 5 minutes. The wave of monsters was less than 500 meters away from the settlement. In the night, pairs of scarlet eyes stared eagerly. Roar. The moment the countdown ended, the roar of beasts and the chirping of insects sounded like a mountain roar and a tsunami. Thousands of monsters ran wildly, rushing in like a tidal wave, rolling up waves of smoke and dust. Attack! Li Yuanqing roared. A group of monsters rushed into the crowd, and a melee broke out in an instant. Don't break up the formation, hold the pass, retreat the wounded, and put the backup on top. Li Yuanqing commanded, pulled out a wand, and worked hard to create a fireball. He is a magician and has some combat power. There is a chance. Both of these monsters are close combat and can only cause limited damage to us. Observing the situation, Li Yuanqing felt excited. But the next moment, a sudden change occurred. I saw that the ground suddenly rose, and then suddenly broke open. A giant robot with a height of 2 stories emerged from the ground. Its body was in tatters, but it was extremely powerful. With a swing of its mechanical arm, it could sweep away dozens of people. Elite level earth drilling robot, HP 140,000. Someone yelled, reporting the attributes of this robot. Almost at the same time, the southern part of the settlement was suddenly in crisis. Just like this giant robot, there are also robots emerging from the ground in the south of the settlement, blocking the escape route. Although the size is much smaller, there are too many, thousands of them. Not only in the north and south, but also in the other 2 directions, monsters are also appearing. Most of the human power is in the north. The power on these 2 sides is too weak and can be broken through in an instant. How so? Li Yuanqing's eyes darkened. All the information he received, as well as the survivors who escaped from the surrounding settlements, were consistent. The monster wave will only attack from one direction until it destroys the core of the settlement. But now, the situation is not like this. Monsters are coming from all directions. In an instant, the situation deteriorated to a desperate situation. Lu Cheng hurried on, and when he was still a few minutes away from the settlement, the system prompt rang. Ding! The increase is completed. Closing square bracket. The arcane ring's amplification was successful and upgraded to black iron level equipment, the arcane iron ring. Closing square bracket. Comma. Arcane iron ring. Ring slot. Quality. Black iron level. Closing square bracket. Wearing requirements. Spell profession, level 7 or above, mental attribute 23 or above. Closing square bracket. Maximum mana plus 180, intelligence plus 18, spirit plus 12, mana recovery plus 2 per minute. Closing square bracket. Special effect 1. Actively used, it can instantly restore 150 mana points, and the cooling time is 10 minutes. Closing square bracket. Special effect 2. Provides 2 meters storage space. Closing square bracket. Comma. Seeing the properties of the secret magic iron ring, Lu Cheng's eyes lit up. The rare equipment at level 3 has been upgraded to the black iron equipment at level 7, and the attribute bonus alone has been multiplied several times. 12 points of spirit, plus its own mana bonus, this is the upper limit of 300 mana points. There are also 2 special effects, both of which have also been greatly improved. The active effect of mana recovery has been increased from 30 points to 150 points, which is a huge increase. The storage space has increased even more, from 1x1x1 to 2x2x2, which is equivalent to 8 times the original space. Not bad. Liu Cheng equipped himself with the ring and rushed to the settlement without delay. Approaching the settlement, shouts of killing could be heard in the distance, and the smell of blood filled the air. Sensing the blood energy, Liu Cheng couldn't help but frown. With such a strong smell of blood, the battle in the settlement would probably be fierce. However, the attack of the monster wave has clearly just begun. Liu Cheng's heart sank. He lured back the 2 black iron bosses in advance. If nothing else happened, defending the city wouldn't be so difficult. But now, there is obviously an accident. Liu Cheng ran wildly, and a few minutes later, the scene in the settlement came into view. Everyone in the settlement was locked in a bitter fight. A large number of robot monsters burst out of the ground, instantly breaking the balance and forcing humans to a desperate situation within a few minutes. Countless monsters broke into the settlement and were fighting everywhere. Li Yuanqing's mana had reached the bottom. He rushed forward to fight with his staff, but he was targeted by a ground-burrowing robot. He received a heavy blow and was knocked away several meters away. In an instant, only his bloody skin was left. What the hell? Li Yuanqing tried a few times, but couldn't stand up anymore and uttered the first curse word in his more than 50 years of life. The earth-boring robot didn't intend to let him go, and strode towards him. A young figure appeared in a flash and faced the earth-boring robot, with 2 knives flying in his hands. He ignited fire with his 2 swords, and every time he struck, it caused 4-digit high damage. After several strikes, the earth-penetrating robot fell to the ground with a crash. "Commander, leave quickly. I will protect you and fight out." This man's eyes were red from the killing. He sheathed his swords, and anxiously came to help Li Yuanqing. He is the leader of the younger generation of the branch family. He has awakened the Azure Bronze level talent. Each attack can cause 1,000 points of fire damage. Ordinary monsters are no match for him. "Tianyu, go save Xiao Mushui." Li Yuanqing pushed him and pointed his finger to the left. Not far to the left, Xiao Mushui was alone, and several ground-drilling robots were surrounding her. Good. Li Tianyu quickly drew out his 2 swords and struck towards the left. These beasts. Li Yuanqing leaned on the robot corpse, looked at the scene in front of him, and cursed again. With the emergence of a large number of ground-drilling robots, the loss of the settlement is almost a foregone conclusion. But he couldn't figure it out. These robot beasts were so abnormal. The silver-backed poisonous insects and rubber monsters, just like in the Intelligence, were trying to destroy the core of the settlement. But not this group of ground-boring robots. They were all close to the core of the settlement, but they went around and tore apart the northern defense line. It's like deliberately killing humans. Li Yuanqing sighed, but the next moment, his eyes suddenly widened. With a muffled sound, Li Tianyu took off his swords and flew out, his body falling in front of him like a rag bag. That elite-level robot arrived here at some point. After knocking Li Tianyu away, the elite robot turned its head and stared at Xiao Mushui with its scarlet eyes. Oops. Li Yuanqing was anxious, but at this moment, he was helpless. Next moment, bang, dash, 10,025. A fireball flew from a distance and hit the elite robot's head with great precision, knocking it back a few steps. Then, a figure came over. Who is it? Li Yuanqing was overjoyed, but from this angle, he couldn't see his face. He could only see that the other party was wearing a black leather coat. It's you, Liu Cheng. Xiao Mushui trembled. Liu Cheng changed his equipment so many times that she couldn't recognize him. But she can recognize her blessing. 12 hours ago, she blessed Liu Cheng, and there are only 10 minutes left. Previously, Liu Cheng was not seen among the crowd guarding the settlement, and she was a little sad. But Liu Cheng is back and appears at the most critical moment. Xiao Mushui's eyes lit up. She quickly took a few steps back, squeezed out the last few drops of mana, and raised her hand to bless him. Ding! Xiao Mushui blesses you. Moving speed +1, health recovery speed +1, mana recovery speed +1, lasting 12 hours. Closing square bracket. Not paying attention to the blessing effect, Liu Cheng stared at the elite robot. Along the way, He had already understood the situation. The settlement's losses were more severe than he thought, all because of these mechanical monsters. The elite-level robot turned its head and found Liu Cheng, and its mechanical eyes flickered. Roar! The elite-level robot raised its head and roared. After a roar, the ground-drilling robots in all directions stopped moving and turned to look this way. All the ground-drilling robots are encircling in the middle direction. Then, the elite robot took the lead and attacked Liu Cheng. There's something wrong with this monster. Manipulating the energy shield to block the attack of the elite robot, Liu Cheng's thoughts changed rapidly. The previous rubber monster butcher only had 110,000 HP, but this robot is only elite level and has a whopping 140,000 HP. Moreover, he can also command other similar monsters. At the critical moment of the battle, without thinking too much, the CD of the fireball skill improved, and Liu Cheng threw another fireball. Bang! Dash! 10,031. The fireball exploded on the shoulder of the elite robot, causing over 10,000 damage. The elite robot's eyes flashed red, and the next moment, it opened its chest and breathed out blazing fire. Liu Cheng raised his hand, and the energy shield blocked the flames, and his durability dropped rapidly. However, the elite robot's offensive did not stop. Its two mechanical arms locked onto Liu Cheng, its fist flipped open, and two explosive bombs were fired. Boom! Boom! The two explosive bombs exploded almost at the same time, causing dust and sand to billow for a moment. Amidst the smoke and dust in the sky, a mechanical chain came through the air and locked directly at Liu Cheng's throat. On the side, Li Yuanqing and others' eyes were dull. The elite robots had never performed these in previous battles. Just relying on conventional means caused them heavy casualties. But it wasn't until now that they truly realized how terrifying the elite robots were. Any one of these three skills can easily kill dozens or hundreds of people. Snapped. There was a shattering sound, the energy shield could not block the mechanical chain, and the fragments flew. Liu Cheng raised his hand calmly and summoned an energy shield again, just in front of him. Clang! Dash! 942. With a crisp sound, the chain was bounced off by the energy shield and quickly retracted into the elite robot. Liu Cheng walked quickly, his thoughts changing rapidly. Something is wrong. This earth-penetrating robot is clearly elite level, but its damage is higher than the Black Iron boss. His energy shield has a durability of over 10,000, and this is the first time it has been broken. This is not the intensity that an 8th level elite should have at all. What's even more wrong is that this monster's three skills are continuous, not like a low-level monster without intelligence at all. Liu Cheng kept moving his hands, throwing out fireballs one after another. Although the elite robot is powerful, it is not so powerful that he is helpless. He has tens of thousands of passive levels and a HP of 140,000, which can be taken away by 14 fireballs. As long as you keep an eye on the chain, it won't be a big problem. While typing, Liu Cheng was thinking. Among the three skills of elite monsters, mechanical chain does the highest damage. This skill alone destroyed the first energy shield with a durability of over 5,000. Dash, 10,045. Dash, 10,053. Dash, 10,054. Fireballs were blasted out one after another, and the elite robot's health dropped rapidly. During this period, it used its skills twice, but Liu Cheng dodged them both times. Suddenly, behind Liu Cheng, an ordinary robot approached and punched hard. Boom! Dash! 59. Liu Cheng received the blow with his back and used the force to fly, just in time to avoid the elite robot that rushed towards him. Then, he stood firm and threw a fireball. Bang! Dash! 10,079. Plus 59. The fireball exploded above the elite robot's head, and the blood-sucking effect of the Lingtai Slough was triggered, and its blood volume was instantly replenished. At this moment, the elite robot's head was blown apart and its parts flew everywhere. The head was damaged and the elite robot suddenly became motionless. Liu Cheng's eyes lit up. Where the elite robot's head was damaged, he could vaguely see a joystick. There was no hesitation. As soon as the CD got better, Liu Cheng was another fireball. Dash! 10,082. The fireball hit, the elite robot's health was completely emptied, and it exploded into a ball of scrap metal with a loud bang. Ding! You killed the earth drilling robot, elite level, and gained plus 2888 experience points. closing square bracket. Ding, in the battle to defend the settlement, you killed the level 8 elite, the earth-penetrating robot, and gained +80 combat merit. The battle settlement reward has increased. Closing square bracket. 2 system prompts sounded. Liu Cheng ignored it and fixed his gaze on the elite robot. Sure enough, a moment later, a dark figure knocked open the remains of the elite robot and stood up. It is not big in size, but its material is extraordinary, and its whole body glows with a beautiful metallic light. Adaptive A-shaped mechanical explorer. Level 8, Black Iron level boss. HP, 40,140,000. Physical attack, magic attack, closing square bracket. Physical resistance, legal resistance, closing square bracket. Skill, closing square bracket. Looking at the mechanical explorer with less than half health, Liu Cheng nodded slightly. No wonder the elite robots are so difficult to deal with. This is the Black Iron level boss, which has given the elite robot a lot of attributes and is controlling it to fight. The elite robot was killed by him, and the blood volume shared in the past could not be replenished. It's just that, we still have to be on guard against the boss's skills. Liu Cheng was very wary. Mechanical explorers and ground drilling robots are of different types, and the boss may have new skills. Next moment, the mechanical explorer kicked away the scrap metal, stepped on the corpse of the elite robot, and looked down at Liu Cheng coldly. It stretched out its hand and spit out a cold mechanical voice. Give me back. Return the treasure to me and keep your body intact. The mechanical explorer stared coldly and spoke again. On the side, Li Yuanqing, Xiao Mushui, and Li Tianyu, who finally woke up, were stunned when they saw this scene. The cold mechanical sound just now clearly came from the mouth of this monster. Monster. Can talk. Liu Cheng narrowed his eyes slightly. He has seen many monsters that can speak human words, and there are even some that can directly communicate with the soul, which is not uncommon. The key is, what does this Black Iron level boss want from him in return? Although his current equipment can be considered luxurious, there are 3 of them at the Black Iron level. But compared to the boss monster that can speak at level 8, Black Iron level equipment is obviously not that impressive. Like ordinary monsters, they can speak human words, at least after level 3 or even level 4. There are only 2 things in him that can truly be called treasures. One is the remains of the spiritual platform acquired from Li Yuanqing. The second is the time crack who was reborn and returned with him. The purple gemstone has been lying quietly in the corner of the storage space. Liu Cheng's thoughts changed rapidly. Along the way, he discovered many anomalies. The monster tide that Settlement No 1024 encountered was different from the ordinary monster tide. And this abnormality is concentrated in monsters such as robots. The silver-backed poisonous insects and rubber monsters were just attracted by the tide of monsters, and came to destroy the settlement hub. Only earth-burrowing robots are deliberately killing humans. Moreover, they specifically picked out people from Li's technology to kill. If what he wants is the remains of the spiritual platform, Liu Cheng had a flash of inspiration and made a guess. If this mechanical explorer came from the ruins that produced the remains of the Lingtai, then all of this would make sense. They surrounded the settlement and killed humans in order to recover the remains of the spiritual platform. No wonder before, the elite robots used all kinds of tricks as soon as they met. Most likely, he found out that the remains of the Lingtai were on his body. Liu Cheng suddenly realized that the fireball condensed in his hand. Bang! 10,105. The fireball exploded on the mechanical explorer, causing more than 10,000 damage. This mechanical explorer has no magic resistance. Liu Cheng didn't take it lightly at all and moved calmly. Although the mechanical explorer only has less than 30,000 health left. But it can speak human words, and it is more likely to come from a certain ruins. There may be some ultimate skill hidden in it. When exploring the ruins in the previous life, strong men at level 100 or even level 200 often fell. Next moment, the mechanical explorer moved. The enemies. All cleared. Its mechanical eyes turned blood red, and it raised its arms, weakly. As the mechanical explorer moved, the surrounding ground drilling robots came to a standstill. Taking advantage of this moment, Liu Cheng fired another fireball. But then, he couldn't see the mechanical explorer anymore. The earth-drilling robots started to move, gave up besieging Liu Chang, and quickly surrounded the mechanical explorers, forming a dense pile. Click, click. Amidst the sounds of mechanical collisions, the pile of metal piled higher and higher, and a huge thing gradually took shape. With the mechanical explorer as the core, hundreds of earth-drilling robots are actually splicing together to form a giant. On the head of the mechanical giant, there is a pair of cold and scarlet mechanical eyes, which is the mechanical explorer. This. On the side, Li Yuanqing and others looked at this scene, their faces turned pale. This mechanical giant is already 4 or 5 stories tall before it is fully formed, and it is much more terrifying than the previous elite robots. Liu Chang was not afraid and raised his hand to throw the fireball. Bang! Dash! 10,158. The fireball hit the mechanical giant, and a mechanical failure suddenly sounded. A ball of scrap metal peeled off, and the earth-drilling robot that made up that part was destroyed. Ding! You killed the earth-penetrating robot, level 8 gained experience value plus 175, and combat merit plus 8. Closing square bracket. This is a mechanical skill, rapid reconstruction. Liu Chang's eyes lit up when he heard the system prompt. In his previous life, he had interacted with people in the mechanical profession a lot, and there was a semi-divine level mechanic in Daxia. But Liu Chang's heart moved. If the demigod in the previous life used reconstruction, the health bars of all mechanical components would merge into one, and the blood volume would be extremely thick. But now, the health bars of these hundreds of ground-burrowing robots are still independent and not fused. It proves that the mechanical explorer's skill level is not high and the threat is not great. And there is a more critical point. The health bar of the mechanical explorer will also be independent. Previously, the mechanical explorer had already eaten 2 of his fireballs, and his health was about to bottom out. Liu Chang rushed forward, grabbed the earth-boring robot that was still being spliced, and climbed up. Roar! The earth-piercing robots roared one after another, but too many of their limbs and parts were put together, making it difficult to move, and their resistance to Liu Chang was very limited. With a little effort, Liu Chang climbed to the middle position. Dash 35, dash 29, dash 31. Damage numbers popped up on Liu Chang's head, and there were still mobile earth-penetrating robots that kept attacking him. Liu Chang was unmoved. Seeing that his blood volume was about to drop to half health, he raised his hand and a fireball came out. Bang! Dash 10,175. Plus 422. 2 numbers appeared one after another. An earth-drilling robot was blasted into scrap metal, and Liu Chang's health was restored to full. After recovering, Liu Chang continued to climb quickly. Climbing to the top of the mechanical giant, he saw the mechanical explorer at a glance. It became the hub of this mechanical giant, with countless mechanical tube chains connected to it. Mechanical explorer. 20,140 thousandths. Liu Chang glanced at the boss's health bar and greeted him with a fireball. Bang! Dash 10,188. After a fireball, the mechanical explorer was left with nothing but blood and skin. Etc. The mechanical explorer suddenly spoke, spitting out a cold synthesized voice. Liu Chang narrowed his eyes slightly and was ready to go. Altar, need, treasure, ancient. The mechanical explorer spat out several incoherent words. What? The next moment, the sound of breaking wind sounded. 2 giant mechanical arms attacked together, as fast as lightning, to crush Liu Chang into pieces. Liu Chang raised his hand directly, and the fireball that had been held in his hand for a long time came out. Bang! Dash 10,199. Bright red damage figures appeared, and the mechanical giant's movements stopped abruptly. Boom! Boom! Continuous explosions sounded from inside the mechanical giant. Each of the ground drilling robots was scrapped, and this mechanical giant exploded into a pile of scrap metal. A system prompt rang in Liu Chang's ear. Ding! You killed the black iron level boss, adaptive A-shaped mechanical explorer, and gained plus 7609 experience points. Closing square bracket. You alone killed the black iron boss of the same level or above and obtained free attribute points plus 16. Closing square bracket. In the battle to defend the settlement, you killed the level 8 black iron level boss, adaptive A-shaped mechanical explorer, and gained plus 800 combat merit, and the battle settlement reward increased significantly. Closing square bracket. You destroyed 71 Earth-penetrating robots, level 8 gained experience points plus 12,425, and combat merit plus 568. Closing square bracket. Then, the system prompt sounded over the settlement. Notice, all BOW SS level monsters in the monster tide are dead, and the monster tide is receding. Closing square bracket. Victory in the settlement guard battle. The battle merit list will be announced soon, and rewards will be released. Closing square bracket. System announcements resounded over the settlement. As this announcement sounded, in the northern part of the settlement, all silver-backed poisonous insects and rubber monsters are stagnant in their movements. The cruelty and ferocity in their bodies quickly faded, and the red light in their eyes also dissipated, gradually returning to their original color. Then, many monsters stopped killing and began to retreat outside the settlement. Seeing this scene, the people with red eyes were stunned. How is this going? They didn't react until large numbers of monsters left the settlement. Did the settlement hold? We won. We won. How did we win? Some people were still clutching their weapons, some were in disbelief, and some looked confused. Apparently a second ago they were still fighting bloody battles, desperately trying to hold back the tide of monsters. But the system notification suddenly sounded, and the monster wave quickly dispersed. Everyone looked at each other. Although now, they all still don't understand the situation. But this does not prevent the joy of surviving the disaster from flooding everyone's heart. No matter what, at least the settlement was not lost and they survived. Ha ha ha, we win, we win. In the northern part of the settlement, tens of thousands of people cheered and shouted at the top of their lungs. Liu Chang, Xiao Mushui was in a daze and muttered to herself. Just now, she could see clearly. It was Liu Chang who rescued her from the elite robot and faced the boss alone. She stared at Liu Chang closely, trying to remember the black figure. We can defend this, the man in black. Li Yuanqing sat on the ground with shock in his eyes. He also saw the battle clearly. When countless monsters assembled into a mechanical giant, he almost despaired. But what he never expected was that young figure in black leather clothing single-handedly defeated the mechanical giant. He couldn't be mistaken. After the man in black climbed onto the mechanical giant's head, within half a minute, the system notification came. How can you be so strong? In shock, Li Yuanqing's heart beat wildly. They couldn't even deal with the previous elite-level robots alone. Not to mention a mechanical giant 4 or 5 stories high. The man in black killed the mechanical giant single-handedly, and his combat effectiveness was so high. At least, it is much better than Li Tianyu, who is talented at Azure Bronze level. Then, what level will his talent be? White Silver level, Yellow Gold level, Platinum level, or higher? If we can recruit such a master. Li Yuanqing became more and more excited as he thought about it. But immediately, he shook his head slightly. He remembered that he wanted to recruit Liu Chang before. As a result, he was directly rejected by the other party. That Liu Chang was just a casual person, and he most likely just killed a level 3 boss or an elite. But now this man in black is a fierce man who can single-handedly kill the 8th level Black Iron boss. One can imagine how likely the other party is to refuse. However, although there is little hope, Li Yuanqing is obviously not ready to give up. He wanted to extend his hand to say hello, but he immediately coughed up a mouthful of blood. He had been injured too seriously, damaging his bones and internal organs. At this time, system sounds sounded over the settlement. Victory in the settlement guard battle. Everyone in settlement No 1024 received +2 all attributes, +5 free attribute points, and +500 experience points. This reward does not conflict with the merit ranking rewards. Closing square bracket. Follow this tip. A ray of white light flashed across Li Yuanqing's body, refreshing him. The reward of 500 experience points allowed him to level up directly, and his injuries healed instantly. Not only him, more than half of the people in the northern part of the settlement lit up with white light. Many people were seriously injured, but a white light flashed across their bodies, and their status was fully restored, and they escaped death. A total of 500 experience points are required to upgrade from level 2 to level 3. Experience points are rewarded, and many people in the settlement are upgraded directly. Moreover, it's not just experience points. There are also attribute point rewards, which are also given out at the same time. The 5 attributes have been increased by 2 points each, and there are 5 free attribute points. This reward is so cool. Some people's eyes widened with surprise. A total of 15 attribute points, which is equivalent to a level upgrade in vain. Ordinary rewards are like this. What about the battle merit list? If you are on the list, will the rewards be more generous? The battle merit list was mentioned in the previous announcement, and many people were looking forward to it. The next moment, a light curtain automatically lights up in front of everyone. Lines of text are displayed, which is the battle merit list. It's just the first time I saw the battle merit list. Everyone in the settlement was stunned. Combat merit ranking. First place, Liu Cheng, combat merit, 2,998 points. Number of elites killed, 3. Number of black iron boss killed, 3. Number of ordinary monsters killed, 114. Closing square bracket. Second place, Li Tianyu, combat merit, 158 points. Number of ordinary monsters killed, 26. Closing square bracket. Third place, Wei Meng, combat merit, 152 points. Number of ordinary monsters killed, 21. Closing square bracket. Fourth place, Li Guang, combat merit, 150 points. 100th place, combat merit, 119 points. Number of ordinary monsters killed, 19. Closing square bracket. Look at the ranking of battle achievements on the light screen. Everyone's scalp was numb. From the 100th place to the second place, the gap in combat merit is actually not big, only about 40 points in total. But it's the first place, it's really scary. This boss Liu Cheng. How did he do it? 3,000 points of combat merit. There are 9 people left in the top 10, and the total is only 1,400 points. Some people lowered their voices in disgust, full of disbelief. Liu Cheng, who ranks first in the battle merit list, is leading by a cliff. Moreover, it's not just battle points. The achievements are even more gorgeous. Oh my god, this is too fierce. 3 elites, 3 black iron bosses, all were killed by him. Are these still human? That elite robot is really terrifying. He scattered dozens of us in 2 strokes. How could he kill him? Wait, the reason for the previous victory seems to be because the boss was killed. Someone is aware of this problem and says hard. After he mentioned it, many people also reacted. Yes, the reason for victory was mentioned in the system announcement just now. It was because all the BOSSs were dead that they won this defense battle. Wouldn't that mean that it was Liu Cheng, no, God Liu, who saved all our lives? It seems like that's true. If it weren't for him, that elite robot would probably kill us all. As soon as this news came out, the community chat exploded. Many hearts are filled with gratitude. Originally, the battle situation was already extremely difficult. There are silver-backed poisonous insects and rubber monsters in the front, and ground-burrowing robots in the back, surrounding and killing everyone. If not, the system prompts in time. If it were delayed even 1 minute, hundreds or even thousands more people would have died. It seems, it was boss Liu Cheng who killed the last boss, and then triggered the system notification, causing the monster tide to recede. Some people speculated, and they immediately got the approval of blockbusters. If Liu Cheng hadn't taken action, they might all have died. And now, not only has he survived, but his attributes have also increased by a full 15 points out of thin air. It was Mr. Liu Cheng who saved our lives. That's right, you gave me this life. From now on, if you let me work like a cow or a horse, it will all be based on your orders. God Liu, I am so lucky to be in the same settlement as God Liu. This moment, the chat channel was completely abuzz. And in the center of the settlement, Li Yuanqing's face turned blue and white. That fierce man in black is Liu Cheng. He only felt that his throat was drying up. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.